Well, hi there, and good evening, everyone. Happy Christmas Eve to those that celebrate Christmas. Um, and welcome to our very first, and hopefully, maybe not the last, online marathon. We did say 24 hours, and so what we will be doing is making sure that you have some inspiration for the next 24 hours right here on Iris Inspires TV. So, as we are, I want to thank you for your patience as we have been setting up and getting ready to start. We do have we have a special guest that will be coming on this evening for those that are back east. It is already after midnight for you, and in the west on the west coast, it is about it's 9:15, and then on Central Coast, it is 11:15. I think I got that right. So again, welcome, and thank you for joining us this evening. What is the intention of our online marathon? Our intention, as you may or may not know, I am the founder of Center of Empowerment, Coin PM. And our intention is to bring support and to destigmatize mental health services. And we offer mental health support groups for grief loss, for caregivers, trauma, addictions, and we're not just talking alcohol addiction and drug addiction. We're talking any type of addictive behavior. We offer support as well as other basic needs support that support families that are reuniting, transitioning, whatever the decision of that family unit in the direction that it may be going, we are here to support you with it. That Center of Empowerment. We build bridges of hope that goes beyond beyond solutions, meaning that, let me repeat that, building bridges of hope that goes beyond solutions. And what that simply means is that we're not just looking to fix it, but we want to be a part of you shifting and changing and transforming the trajectory of your life and your family's life. Because just to offer a solution, there's an old saying that said, feed a fish, give a fish and feed for a day, teach a person how to fish, and they'll be able to eat a lifetime. And so our intention is to be lifetime planters into the lives of those that are in transition, change, working families that may not have all that they need, or recognize that there is a time and a change for transition. So tonight is about those of us who have experienced a loss in some shape, form, or fashion, be it by the transition of a family member, a loved one, a friend, has experienced loss that has created grief in your life in the area of a relationship, career change, location change, empty nester. Perhaps you have even experienced change as it pertains to being a caregiver. And I can speak on these areas because God knows I've experienced them all. Caring for our loved ones, and we don't do it thank you for watching. We got watching from California begrudgingly, but we do it in love and care. However, there are times when it can feel overwhelming. There are times when the caregiver needs to be cared for. And so we offer services that support caregivers. Also, you may be ill, you may be confined, you may be experiencing or have experienced cancer, or some other type of chronic illness that has debilitated you or put you in a place of being disabled as you are recouping and healing, and or you may be caring for a loved one in such dealing with that type of ailment or illness. And so we support that. We have technicians that will be working with us in 2025, that will be working with you as you are going through the process of adjusting life and living life on life's terms, meaning that Life throws all types of curveballs. And the curveballs a lot of times are not what we're expecting. And so we offer these services to support you, and to be a vehicle, a conduit, not just a vehicle, a conduit. A conduit allows you to plug in and energize, inspire, empower, inner power, purpose, to define what that is for you. Sometimes you may feel empty and lost in a crowded room. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've been in that situation in my life where I have been in a crowded room, around friends and family, and have felt lost, or not heard, not seen, or empty, or alone. And that's not a good feeling either. So we work with you even in getting through those tough places, of how to establish what are your standards for living. What are you committed to in your life? I personally have a foundational scripture that I have lived, breathed, and taught for many years. And any of you that have worked with me know that it's 2 Timothy 1:7. And that is, God has not given us the spirit of fear. Yes, 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 yes. That means I do not have to choose from the bucket of fear. All the things that come up that gives me justifiable reasons to be afraid, to move in fear, to choose in emotions and not think a process through it. Trust me, I'll be the first to raise my hand, both hands, and tell you that I have moved in fear. And fear will cause you to move in emotion and not use the wisdom that's been given to us by the creator of all life. So God has not given me the spirit of fear. I don't have to choose from the bucket of fear, but of power. The Holy Spirit dwells within me, within you, and we activated by our commitment. What are we committed to? That's that love thing. Love has to do with our commitment. What are we committed to? If you do not know what you're committed to, I trust and believe you will get yourself involved in toxicity. And toxicity will create unhealthy relationship with self and unhealthy relationship with others. When we are reliant on feel good validation, and there's nothing wrong with being validated. I'm not talking about being appreciated and being grateful, and those acknowledging what you have contributed in their life. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when our sole existence is centered around being validated, and then we ignore the fact, or we justify that really isn't it. So we lie to ourselves and say we're not motivated by that, or we're not moving because of that, right? But our commitment, our love, has to be rooted and grounded in our commitment. What are we committed to? I've been really dealing with that love thing over the last few weeks. And my for 2025, the Holy Spirit ignited in me that my word is finally coming from Matthew, the 22nd chapter, 27th verse, all the way through. And I ain't finna go there right now. But finally, what are we committed to? Love. What is love? We get to define that for ourselves. What I have come to know and recognize, we often equate love with the feelings of feel good. And love doesn't always have to feel good, meaning it shouldn't harm us, but it should cause us. It may be uncomfortable because it causes us to rise, to be our best self, to rise and to walk in authenticity, to rise and to walk in the power of the Almighty God, to rise and be the very essence of God in the earth. So what are you committed to, loved ones? What are you committed to? In the journey of grief and loss, we will find the emotions around the things that we feel either has left our space in tangible, hands-on experience, and or with meaning that we can no longer touch, feel, and or see with our naked eye, right? And sometimes when we feel that way, we don't make sound decisions, good decisions, healthy decisions. That's the last part of that scripture. Y'all thought I forgot. I didn't. Sound mind, we can make sound, healthy decisions, even in the midst of grief and loss. This is what I've learned as recent as this evening. You know, the coach, the counselor, the facilitator has to be coached, counseled, facilitated, and mentored. And so this evening, I had a very powerful session with my counselor. And at the time that it was scheduled, I did not realize it was scheduled on the night that we were having this. As a matter of fact, tonight it came about purely out of a desire to feel a need based on conversations that I was having with different ones. I recognize that Christmas Eve is a time that we spend with family. Um, we spend with friends, we spend with loved ones, and we have a lot of expectations around holidays. It can bring up a lot of emotions, particularly when we are in grief, be it we have lost our loved one, parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, husband, wives, children. It can bring up a lot of emotions and feelings around the holidays. I know for me, in complete and total transparency, it brings up a whole lot of feelings for me. And quite frankly, holidays have not been the same since my parents have passed and left and transitioned through this life. Particularly when Mama left this life. My father left. It definitely made a difference. And when my mother left, it definitely made a difference. And I'm sure it made up my relationship with both was different. So, of course, Mama was the one that held everything together. And so even after Daddy was not here, my father was not here, and they were not together, Mama still held the family together during holidays. And so holidays wasn't the same. I remember even with my grandmother, it wasn't the same. She, a grandmother, my grandfather, my grandparents, on both sides of my family, but it seemed like I leaned more and had more relationship with for a lot of reasons. But that's that family tree stuff, and we're not here to get into that. But it sometimes affect how we handle and why we do certain things at certain times, and why we are triggered at certain times. This evening, I was very, very, very triggered in my session with my counselor, because I was debating on whether or not I should even do this online session. But maybe I've overstepped over a bit too much off again, doing something again in an effort to make a difference, because I got a whiff or a whim of an idea from downloaded from heaven, and stepped out in faith and moved and did what I felt was inspired by God to be a conduit, be a space, a safe space for you. So, by the way, don't forget to like, share, hit subscribe. Those of you that are joining in, please leave us where you are watching from, be it California, where in California, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Texas, New York, Atlanta. Let us know. Let us know where you're chiming in from. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. As you see, we have a lot of programming here on Iris Inspires TV. And we want to make sure you stay connected, and we want to continue to be a voice of inspiration, inspiring television for however long God has granted me to be on this side of the sunshine, on this side of the planet. So don't forget, subscribe, like, and by all means share with your circle of friends and family, as this has inspired you. Look at some of our videos. We have a whole lot of them down there in our on our dashboard, in our videos are live. So with that said, let me just continue. Where was I talking? Oh, I was sharing about how I was triggered today, and I didn't. I had a pretty been in all day, and quite frankly, you guys, I have dealt with a health challenge uh, for ooh, for a bit. It's been I was diagnosed, or it was I was given a diagnosis of cancer a bit ago, and did what I thought was necessary, giving myself some time to 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 heal and remedy that, and it didn't. And so had to go back to the drawing board, and have been dealing with that all year, all 2024, along with other challenges. So this time of year, and so I'm looking, let me back up. Now, let me just talk over that and don't give a little more detail. So I'm looking to share with you guys. I haven't shared a whole lot about it because I have not wanted to give life to it. But what I recognize as well is sometimes, and I didn't want to, answer a whole lot of questions of, how I am choosing to be healed and heal my body, and how I'm choosing to allow my body to heal. Um, as the prognosis and as the diagnosis comes back, I'm sharing as you. I'm opening up a little more. But one of the fears and the concerns that I had was because of how my mother and my father um, left this world. They both left this world with cancer um, at young ages, in their 60s. And so the enemy fear has tried to set in and settle in. But I have to say that I am grateful that despite the challenges, I have been encamped with loved ones. Um, so I want to say thank you. I want to say, I don't know who that is. Go ahead and put down where you're watching in from. If you don't mind, let us know where you're watching in from. Loved ones that I want to say thank you to. I want to say thank you to my sister. And I want to say thank you to um, my aunts and my son, who has been a jewel that I could not possibly have imagined how the support that I would be getting from him at this stage in time in my life. So I say thank you. I want to say thank you to a host of mentors and a host of friends that have been nothing. Hi there, Amir, watching from California. Welcome. Thank you. Has been nothing but support. And so, oftentimes, what's needed during this season is just some support. So, that's what we're here for, to offer you support during this time. How you feeling? What's going on? Put in the chat. Let us know. What are you facing right now? What are your feelings? What are you going through? Um, it's not easy being in a season of feeling like you are alone during a time of sadness or grief. It's not a good feeling, but it's wonderful when you have support systems. And sometimes your support, so I've been blessed and fortunate when I finally opened my mouth and said I needed help. No, that's the other thing. You have to open your mouth and you have to tell folk, sometimes our pride, or it's not that. This is what my counselor said to me tonight, and it broke me. I'm going to share this with you because what it did for me is made me so aware. It gave words to what I had not been able to give words to. And so I'm going to share it with you guys because I think it's something that will definitely help. And she also, where is it? She also, I can't find it. It gave me the go ahead to share. Let's see. It looks like it is gone. Oh, here we go. Okay, well, I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't find it. I don't know why I can't find it. But just like me, that happens sometimes. So it went a little. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I was so big. Here we go. All right. Here we go. As I breathe, I'm going to find it, you guys. I'm going to find it. Okay. Here it is. Why do you keep pushing through situations, causing yourself, making yourself push, push, push? Why? When you have already proven to self that you are resilient. I thought that was so profound. Why do you continue to push yourself when, thank you for watching from Washington, D.C. Why do you continue to push yourself through, right? Why do you continue to push, 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 when you've already proven that you're resilient instead of taking a pause, giving yourself grace to pause? And sometimes what happens in grief and loss and seasons of where we feel a little disconnected and we feel like we shouldn't feel this way, it's time to move on, and et cetera, et cetera. We don't allow ourselves to really be nurtured in a pause, in a self-reflection, and allowing ourselves to feel where we are, lean into it so that we can get to the other side of it. And it's okay. So, because we're such in a habit of being on the horse, of making it happen, making it happen, making it happen, making it happen for others, that we do not give ourselves permission to pause. So we're giving you the space to pause tonight. And we want to say thank you for joining in. Thank you, Amir from California. And thank you, I think that's Cara from Washington, D.C. Thank you for joining in, Izzy J from California. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is a space and an opportunity for you to pause and give yourself the permission to feel what you feel without judgment, okay, without being penalized, without rushing and moving to the next thing, and or if it's about, even if it's in the realm of pausing because you have to engage maybe in family and friend gatherings that you really don't want to engage in. That's the other one. Sometimes we go to places and we commit, but we really don't want to do it. But we do it because it's family, and we do it because it's friend, and we beat ourselves up and make ourselves feel bad because we don't want to do it or don't desire to do it. Once we've committed, it's okay to pause, and it is okay to change your mind too. We haven't always been willing to. We beat ourselves even up about that, changing our mind. It's okay to change your mind. All righty. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, we already have on the stage Cassandra Jackson, who's here all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. We're gonna bring her up live right now. Hey,
Hey.
how you doing?
Hi. I'm great. Thanks for having me. Hold on 1 second.
Uh-huh. Here. Let me know when you're ready to come back. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. And so she's ready. Thank you,
Sorry, there's some
Cassandra.
aluminum
Thank you.
floor crinkling.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for taking time out. You are 3 hours ahead. So you for the folks that are on the East Coast. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, I know Cassandra from Saybrook University. We work together. You know what? Let me. Well, I don't know why she don't have doctor in front of her name. Dr. Cassandra Jackson. That's right. Yeah.
Got it.
I
We
met
did
her
a little bit.
while, yes, we worked together on the campus of Saybrook University. And we also have worked together in student organizations um, and Biaca there. And so I want to say it is a plum pleasing pleasure, in the words of Les Brown, to have you here and sharing with the audience, sharing with those that will be listening in. And so I'm going to let you go ahead and do what you do. And you got the floor. Share and talk. And you can give a little more information on yourself. I have a bio on you, but you know me and bios. I like to give it to you. I like to give it to, here we go. How do I do that? I didn't do that right, y'all. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you the floor and let you do what you do, okay?
Yes, indeed. Thank you kindly.
Mhm.
So, hello everyone. As Lorena said, I am Cassandra Jackson. I'm over here in Georgia. So, yes, it is 12:40 in the morning right now. But I am here and I'm usually up. I'm a night owl, so it's no thing for me to be up this late. So just a little bit about me. As Lorinda said, I am finishing up my dissertation at Saybrook University, getting my PhD in mind body medicine, specializing in integrative mental health. My background has been mostly community mental health work, but I love all things spirituality and holistic and metaphysical. So today I wanted to come on and just talk to you all a little bit about finding joy, balance, and renewal during the holidays, because it is often a time that is full of joy and full of challenges as well. So I just want to talk a little bit about that and how we can reframe some of those challenges and discover how to create a holiday season that nurtures you in every way. And one way that we're going to do that is exploring these four dimensions of well being. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well being, and how you can feel inspired and really tap into those dimensions of yourself, especially during this holiday season. So, starting with the mental well being. So, it's important during this time to find clarity amidst the chaos, because the holidays often come with endless to do lists, a whirlwind of activities, and all kind of shenanigans. So it's really good to really focus on that mental well-being during the holidays, because it's all about creating clarity and calm so you can be present for the moments that truly matter, whether it's for you or for others. So one of some of the big challenges that people face when it comes to mental well-being during the holidays is overcommitting. So you got work, you got family, you have social events, and it's easy to feel like you don't have any breathing room in the midst of those commitments. There's also decision fatigue. What gift should I buy? What event should I attend? How am I going to put this into my schedule to be able to fulfill all these different commitments I've made? And then that pressure to meet expectations. So, it's easy to feel like you have to create the perfect holiday experience, get the perfect gift, and dress perfectly, and everything just has to be perfect. That's a lot of pressure. And a lot of those expectations are self imposed. So you really have to watch out for that, because those stressors end up increasing your anxiety. They can make you irritable. You can have difficulty like staying focused and present with yourself and others, and you can feel really overwhelmed and disconnected from the joy of the season. And so I just want to kind of give some strategies and some considerations that you can make that can help support you. So I like to tell people having an attitude of gratitude, because there is truly power in gratitude. And it's something that you can do regardless of what time of day. So, one thing that is very easy to do is start each day off with a gratitude pause. And Lorinda talked about pausing earlier. Actually, Lorinda, you mentioned several things that I was like, yay, because I'll touch on. So, yeah, the hair rate, attitude of gratitude. So, like, yes, gratitude. You can write three things that you are grateful for, whether it's big or small. I'm grateful that my coffee is warm. I'm grateful that I have a supportive friend. I'm grateful that I know the difference between a supportive friend and an unsupportive friend. I'm grateful to see some twinkling lights outside, even if you don't have lights on. Me personally, I don't have any lights right now, but next year I'll get that. I want to be eventually want to be one of those people who have lights all out their yard and stuff. Why? Just because they're pretty and they twinkle. But why gratitude works? Gratitude shifts your focus from what's overwhelming to what's uplifting, and it helps you foster a positive mental state. And you can practice gratitude by either keeping a small notebook. Oh, you got something, Lorinda? You high
I just
fiving
got a
that?
yeah, I got a quick question. Can y'all
Yes.
put in the chat what three things y'all grateful for? Just put
Three
it in the
things.
chat while she's talking. Three things, or even one thing, one thing, three to get you started and you'll be set. But even if you start with one, put it in the chat. Let us know. My dog, my
Yeah.
mom, and music. Hey,
Hey, that's what I'm
anybody
talking
else?
about.
Anybody else? Yeah. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Let us know as she is talking. Go right ahead, Cassandra and Isaiah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
My family. There we go. My family, my friends, and music. Hey, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Got to find something we're
Ooh.
grateful for. Anybody else? We'll put it up as you
And I'm
as
gonna
you
add
continue.
while people put in the chat that reading those gave me spiritual tinglies. I just want to say I got tinglies reading these gratitudes in the chat.
Mhm,
I love it.
mhm.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank y'all for putting it in there and putting it out there. That
Mhm.
power of gratitude. It is there. And it is okay. You can even keep a small notebook. Like I had a gratitude journal that I would always keep around it every day. At the end of my day, I would write 5 things I was grateful for. And then to start my day off, when I woke up, I would write 5 things I'm grateful for. So basically, it was a small notebook, like probably about this size. And at the top and at the bottom, it was my day, morning, evening, morning, evening. And that I made it a daily ritual because it helped pull me into a present moment. And once again, it just shifted that focus into being uplifting and even empowering. So, power of gratitude, people. So, next up, though, for mental well being is to prioritize and simplify. Prioritize your commitments. They have this thing called the 3 P's: purpose, people, pleasure. So, purpose, does this activity align with my values or the meaning I want to create for myself in this moment or for my life? For people, will this bring joy and connection to others? Pleasure, does this genuinely bring me happiness? Questions. And so, like, as them, instead of attending like every holiday event that comes up, pick your one or two. You could apply the 3 P's: purpose, people, pleasure. So for myself, like I know, like my sister likes to do holiday events. She likes to do um, a gingerbread house party where we all just get together and we just make gingerbread houses and we laugh and we eat good food because she's gonna have a spread. But I know like that gives me that purpose, people, pleasure. It's all in there, and I know if I don't go to anything else for the holiday season, I'm going to go to my sister's house for that gingerbread making party. And my house came out awesome. I wish I could share a picture of it.
No picture. We don't have no picture. What's up
I
with
have like a
that?
phone, but I don't know how to get it on here.
I have a question for you. I have a question for those that may say, "Well, that's all sounds good, purpose, people, pleasure, right?" But that's the problem. I don't have any of those right now because they're all taken away. Do you have any um, feedback, or am I jumping the gun?
You might be a smidge jumping the
Okay.
gun, but I'll still push
Okay.
on it though. Just a little bit. But as
Okay.
you'll see, like throughout, 'cause I got a few other things coming. It's a
Mhm,
build upon.
mhm.
But when it comes to that purpose part, that alignment with your values, first off, you got to know your values. What do you value? And what meaning do you want to create for yourself? So the same things that something that might be I find meaningful may not be something that you find meaningful, but you won't know unless you just kind of ask yourself those questions. So it requires that level of introspection and just kind of take a stroll down. What were those moments that happened in your life, or those things, or maybe those actions that you took that brought value to your life? So like, and I'll use myself as an example. Like, I value self-discovery. So I'm always going to be asking myself a question. I'm always going to be checking in with myself. Um, I'm always going to be learning more about myself, what makes me tick, what I don't like, people's actions that I may not like, or even why I don't like them. Like, I'll explore that. Like, what is showing up for me and what's happening with me that I don't like this person. Like, what are they? Are they triggering something? And then what meaning do I want to create? Like, with that, and I'll use myself as example again, with going to my sister's event. Like, the meaning that it creates for me is, of course, is family time. So I'm showing up as a sister, an auntie, a daughter, and a friend, because I like to be the cool aunt. So I like to know what's going on in the kiddos' lives. And for those who don't have that support network, there's literally billions of people on this planet. And you just have to make that first step to getting out there. And today, with everything, this online, this wonderful thing called the World Wide Web, you can either find people according to your interests, or if you're not savvy with navigating like online groups and things like that, you can also find local community events that are happening and go out and meet people. Or if you just want to find like some meaning and purpose, or create purpose, you can volunteer somewhere and help others and support others. And even there, you can still be able to talk with other people who value volunteering, and that can breed a whole host of other connections that you can make. So, long story short, Lorinda, those are some of those options that you can explore. And in that, you can see what brings you happiness. You never know. You might go out and volunteer at a stock drive or a food drive or something, and you feel a tingle in you. Like, you feel good about you. So it ends up giving you more pleasure than you thought. You just never know until you make that step forward and try. Did that cover it
Awesome.
a little bit?
Awesome. Yes, I think it covered it a lot. I would just like to interject right here to Cassandra, showing up tonight, showing up and doing this for yourself tonight is huge. And I think, sometimes we minimize when we don't show up for ourselves. We have a couple of people who put in the chat, I value my friends and family and the love and support they spread. That's from Joanne. And then we have, yeah, yeah. And then we have, I value my time. My time is respected and not wasted, from Izzy J. And so we say thank you for that. Yeah, really, I think that's awesome. And just recognizing when you show up for yourself, you're doing something huge.
Yes. Incredibly huge and beautiful.
Mhm.
And once
Mhm.
again, give gratitude to that.
Yes. We're gonna have a good time too. Come on, y'all. We gotta come. We might as well enjoy it, right? That's the whole point of being here, is
That
to
part.
kind of uplift the spirit, right? Uplift the spirit, to give you some,
Mhm.
not just tools but nuggets, but to inspire your spirit. All righty, let me hush. Go right ahead.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Oh, wonderful. I do want to make the next point though, and this, once again, you'll see how it connects. And so, mindfulness and presence, incorporating mindfulness into your days to help you stay grounded. And mindfulness, it can be the most beautiful thing of just focusing on your breath. And with that, you can just sit there any time of day, no matter where, and just take a deep breath in. And you can even, if you want to, which is a common thing to do, or you take four, like your breaths in a 4 count. So you can breathe and say 1, 2, 3, 4.
Come
And
on
that's
and
your
show
whole
us
inhale.
really how to do it. Show us how to do it. Come on, let's do the
Okay, okay.
exercise.
You gonna count me out? You gonna count me? You gonna count me? Count me. Count me out, count me out. Start at 1. Let's start at 1.
Okay.
We'll do 1,
One, 2, 3, 4. Hold
And there.
and exhale.
And you
Yeah.
know, when you do that sound, did you hear the sound? Did you hear the sound, Lorinda? The
Yes. It's like releasing.
yeah,
Y'all know
yes.
I'm that breath. You all know over here we breathe, and you know what? That's perfect because we didn't even start the night off with breathing, and normally we do that in all of our sessions, in any kind of interview and any kind of live. We start off with breath. So thank you, Cassandra. Let's do it again. I'm gonna let you
Yeah, I
count
was
it,
gonna
and
say,
I'm
let's
gonna.
do it again.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for the inhale? Okay,
Yes.
let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, and
It
you can
is.
play around. Like some people do 4 seconds in or 4 counts in, hold for 7, release for 8. Or you can, if you know, sometimes it's a build up to that. So you can start small. You can do hold in for 4, hold for 4, out for 5. Or you can do 4, 4, 4. You can play around with it. But most importantly, you do that and repeat it. Like whenever I do it, I like to repeat it. I like to do it 3 times just to really flip my switch, so to speak.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It gives you that refocus. I love it, girl, because I
Yes.
had to do
And
a
then
whole lot of breathing today. No,
tis the
intentional.
season.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Is the season to do it.
Mhm.
And it really, like, I love mindfulness because it helps you to reduce that stress, and it also anchors you in the present. So if you're stuck worrying about the future or replaying the past, mindfulness, focus on your breath because you're here and now with the breath, baby. You are here and
Mhm.
now in this present space. So it really anchors you. So mindfulness and presence. And then my last one for this mental well-being is to set realistic expectations. Let go of perfection and embrace that everything is good. It's good enough. You're good. And sometimes you can ask yourself too, if you're really like, if these expectations you set for yourself, will it matter in a month? Will it matter in a year? Will it matter tomorrow? So like you can focus more on creating meaningful moments rather than creating perfect, flawless ones. And so instead of you wanting this extravagant dinner spread and everything like it's on Pinterest or something, you could just do something like organize a potluck, something casual, instead of doing this extravagant, have to be picture perfect, this and that. And you can
Repeat
change
that
your inner
meaningful
dialogue
moments
instead of
instead of
I
what?
must do it all. I got to do this right now. I'll do what I can with love and with intention, and it's gonna be beautiful. Hey,
Repeat
Lorena,
that again. Repeat it again. Meaningful
repeat it again.
moments. Meaningful
Yeah.
moments. Uh-huh.
Focus on creating meaningful moments rather than creating perfect or flawless ones.
Wow, that was good.
Yes. Let that sit and marinate. Meaningful moments is what we're going for here.
That
Not the
was good.
perfectionist. And
Mhm.
once again, like you got, it's part of changing that inner dialogue is super important because it's easy to sit there and get caught up in I have to do it all. I got to make sure this is absolutely right. I'll do what I can with love and intention. And yes, there we go. And that will help out with that overwhelm and with the stress and anxiety and things that come with it. So, you know, the holidays don't have to be perfect to be meaningful. If you focus on clarity, gratitude, and what truly matters, you'll experience a lot more joy than stress. So it's Anne Lamott. She's a novelist and writer. She says almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. And that goes back to what Lorinda mentioned earlier about taking that pause. Sometimes you just need to unplug yourself and plug it back in, and you can do that by having those mindful moments, bringing in that just taking some time to focus on your breath. So yeah, those are just some of the little tidbits and just some things you can try out for focusing on that mental well-being and shifting your perspectives, your energy and everything. So power of gratitude, prioritize and simplify things, mindfulness and presence, and setting realistic expectations. And next, I just want to go because once again, I said we were going to touch on the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So now it's about that physical well being. So, holidays tempt us with a lot, whether it's indulgences or, just extreme overeating, things like that. So our routines can easily go sideways. Especially if you're going to different gatherings or you're having late nights or even the temperature, because often it's a big temperature shift for everyone. And so with this, you can, follow that 80-20 rule, so to speak. Excuse me, got a little choked up. And if you're not familiar with the 80-20 rule, it just means 80% of the outcomes come from 20% of causes. So if you prioritize the 20% of the factors, it'll improve the overall situation and give you the best results. So with that, you can, because some people, and I'll say this, I've been one of them, and I've heard this many times, where it's like, oh, I'll get back on track after the holidays. Come January, I'll restart my workout. So it's easy to right. I'm just saying, you see all the food around, it's like, oh, I have a pass, it's just family. I'll get that. It's okay. I'm gonna start that new workout in January, baby, and I'll be lit. Time and time again. So I'm just saying, like, it happens, and it can be a health struggle. And so, there's those overindulgences. It's hard to say no. You don't have your routine, so workouts and sleep schedules get pushed to the side. Because of the stress that you may have, you might end up doing some stressful eating or stress drinking. Turning to comfort foods or even alcohol just to cope. And of course, because of everything going on and the stress and anxiety, you might have some fatigue there too, where you have late nights and full days and you're just constantly feeling drained. And of course, that doesn't help anyone. So one way to kind of counter that is to, like I said, embrace that 80-20 rule. Find ways to switch the gears. So if you go to a dinner party or something, or that you've overindulged, follow that up with a lighter, like more nutritious meal if you can. And then even do some type of like walking, something. Because at least with that, it will eliminate that guilt of enjoying holiday treats and foods and keep you on track. So you can find creative ways to do that. So if you are, say you're with a group of friends or family or something, and you overindulge and you overeat, y'all can agree to take a walk afterwards. Or even, have a dance party, have a dance off, bring back old school versus new school or something like that to where you can get your body moving.
Because folks ain't finna walk after that. They might dance, but they ain't finna go walking.
And see, in my family, we gonna eat, we'll do our eating, but then afterwards, that music starts up.
We gonna dance.
We're gonna dance. Everybody, we may not go down the street walking, but we will dance. So it's a fun and creative way just to get your body moving, get your muscles flowing, your juices flowing, and work off that food that you've eaten. So once again, just putting in that effort and to help with the overall well-being. So you're doing something instead of just eating, and then next thing you know, you're going to sleep, and then repeat, rinse and repeat. for the following week or something.
Uh-huh.
So, movement doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be time consuming to have a positive impact. Make it fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dance around,
You
even
know
if
what?
you're not with people. You could dance around in your
You know what's so funny is I'm thinking about Cassandra. One of the things, even doing, you think about during the pandemic, we used to have parties. We got creative and we started having parties online, right?
home.
Um, we would have dance party, lunch parties. I know I was involved with a couple of parties that happened, and it was actually a lot of fun. So even for those that may find themselves and I'm saying that to kind of add on to what you're saying, that may find themselves confined at home, you know, uh, even if you're not able to move as freely as you maybe once did or wish you could, just being, I mean, sometimes it can take we really have to shift our thinking into what can I do and moving
Mhm.
in that versus what I cannot do. And that really creates a space of feeling a little lighter, because when you focus, what is the saying? What you focus on, you manifest, or where your head is, or where I'm mixing it all up, where your eyes are, wherever you think your behind will follow. No,
Yep, yep.
that
I can't
saying
give you
that.
all the above.
If you didn't know by now, I will botch it up. I'll botch up a quote. I don't intend to, but you get the gist. No.
Right,
But
right,
yeah,
right,
but
right.
the idea, as Cassandra is saying, I just wanted to add, is really focusing in, because you might think, well, I can't dance, or I can't do this, or I can't move, or it's too cold to go walking, or it's snowing, it's this, is that, the other. Think about what you can do. I was thinking about, and I'm gonna shut up. I think it was last night. My son got up and he just started dancing, and I was looking at it. It was hilarious because out of the blue, he just got up and started dancing. And when he got done, he's like, "Oh wow, that felt good." And you know what? He was right. It actually felt good watching him. I didn't get up and dance, but no, but just to see that it lifted his spirits and it made him feel good,
Yeah.
felt good. That's it.
Mhm,
That's all.
mhm. Yeah, but you're right though. It doesn't have to be anything like you work within your body's abilities. And so like even for myself, like even if I couldn't go outside and walk down the street, I would get up and walk in place. And I had got to a point where I set like little goals for myself. So I was like, if I can every day, because once again, COVID brought a lot of me sitting. Not to mention, dissertation and PhD brought
Mm-hmm,
a lot of
mm-hmm,
sitting, and
mm-hmm,
working from home, a lot of sitting.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
I started setting these goals, like step goals for
mm-hmm,
myself. And it started out, I was like, okay, if I could do 1,000 steps a day, that's a good day. So
mm-hmm,
I just would sit
mm-hmm,
there and I would make up for it by walking
mm-hmm,
in place. And
mm-hmm.
even with that, like I
And it
might put on
works.
some music some days, or even if say it was like a show or something I wanted to watch, I'd put it on. I'd just sit there and walk in
Mm-hmm,
place. And then sometimes I'll get fancy and, do a little high step,
mm-hmm,
lift my arms
mm-hmm,
up higher and higher just to really get in the
mm-hmm,
groove of it.
mm-hmm,
Working with what I could do. Sometimes I might even be reading on the computer screen and still doing my walks, and I'll scroll a little bit.
mm-hmm,
Then I'll start scroll a little bit. But
mm-hmm,
once again, just bringing it in however you can is the name of the game,
mm-hmm.
especially during this time of year where the sometimes the food might really hit. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
incorporate movement. Incorporate movement. I can't stress that enough. And of course, prioritize sleep and rest.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do that. Protect your sleep. If you need to set boundaries, set your boundaries, or create a relaxing like bedtime routine. Like honestly, I have a random bedtime routine, so I'll share. So one of my bedroom routines, I like to play spade. I have a spades game on my phone. Um, and so I like to play a couple hands of spades before I go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Relaxes me though.
Mhm.
for whatever reason it relaxes me. So I just let it run. I'll play my little spades game, and that's like, and now like even if I go to bed, go to bed, and I don't play spades, it feels weird. But I at least need to play a hand or two of spades. But I also like to have incense, so I burn incense a lot because that again calms me and helps me wind down. You may decide to come bring in some other things, like maybe drink some herbal tea or do some light stretching. People like to do reading. I myself do some stretching too, especially because I'm working on improving my back. I don't want to claim what I've been diagnosed with, but I've been working on improving my back and my body. So for me, light stretching is another way of helping my body to like start winding down. Sleep is essential for energy, for mood regulation, for your overall health. Even 30 minutes can make a big difference in life. So, if you can't get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and really it's important to know how much sleep your body
You're kind
needs,
of lagging a little bit. Let's
because
see what
that's
that
super
is.
good. I know for me, I've kind of tested this out. So, like, I have had days where have been well rested, and what I would do is I would go to sleep and I wouldn't set an alarm or anything. I'll just allow my body to wake up when it wants to wake up. And so I did this for like 2 or 3 days, and I noticed that my body would wake up after about 6.5 to 7 hours. And so I was like, oh, okay. So there's a trend here. You seem to be okay with it. And yes, my body, I tested it again because, I had things that I needed to get up for. So now I just make sure that whenever I have anything to do, I always make sure that I get at least 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep because I know for facts that my body needs that. And yours may be different, but it's just important to do that. And then if I don't get it, I make sure that I get me a nap in. Like because sometimes it is hard to get that full amount of sleep. But I'll plan a nap and I will schedule a nap. And it's one of those like my phone is on silent and I'm going to the nap room and I'm going to take a nap. So if you need to schedule your naps in because you couldn't meet your full sleep hours, do that and shut it down. Take the time for you.
Mhm.
That's all part of that physical well-being, and it's so important to do. So take time for you, and then of course, stay hydrated and be mindful of alcohol intake if that is your thing. Um, Hydration is super, super, super important, and proper hydration can help with if you have headaches or if you struggle with fatigue or even the overindulgences of food or other beverages. Drinking water, getting that in your body can definitely help improve your system and improve your overall well-being. And of course, if you want to, be a little fancy, you can even add, slices of orange or slices of cucumber or a little mint. Um,
Mhm.
I did one time. I was curious, so I was like, I want to add some water. I just added all kinds of things. I had watermelon, and I had some strawberries around. I put some grapes in it, and I was like, I don't know what this is gonna do, but we're gonna see. Um, and it was delightful. I absolutely loved it. But I love adding like cucumber. I love cucumber and mint. I love cucumber and lemon. From time to time, I'll put that in my water. But those are like other ways. Like I know tons of people who they're like, I don't want to drink water. It's nasty. And I'm like, okay, but your body is like what they say, like 80% water.
Mhm. No,
So
no, it's
you
92%
got
water. Mhm.
92. See,
Mhm.
we went up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, you have to nurture yourself. Like water is not only needed, but there's also healing elements to water. And if you go without it, that can impact a lot, especially if you have any medical conditions and things like that. You want to make sure that you are properly hydrated because that impacts your not only your physical health, but also your mental health as well. And your emotional, because it's easy to get stressed. And especially these days where things are going like 50 miles an hour, 50,000 miles an hour. It's easy to not. So what I did, like I remember, especially when the pandemic started, my cousins and my sister were doing Instacarting. And so they were all day long out doing shopping orders, delivering orders, and they would be on a group call. And so eventually I got invited into the call, even though I wasn't Instacarting. But I would ask them, like, have you eaten today? How much water have you drunk today? And
Mhm.
it got to a point like I kept like they would either what happened was, and I'd be like, no, get you some water now,
Mhm.
especially with
Mhm.
everything that you're doing. So
Mhm.
it actually ended up getting to a point where like people were like scared to tell me no. But they started showing proof that they drunk water. So in our group text chat, they would text me pictures of their water bottle. And then they would text me pictures at different levels. And they're like, "Hey, Cassandra, I drank all my water today." And I'm like, "Yeah." Important.
Mhm.
Can't stress it enough to get that water intake up. I believe in you. I have faith in you. You can do it. Even if you just, and I get on my mom all the time because she likes to drink the little baby waters. That's why I call them little small bottles. And even with those, like you still need to continue drinking. It's a good start, but you still need to keep drinking more to help add up to the daily recommended. Me, I worked myself up to drinking a gallon of water a day. And like now, because I'm so used to it, I feel odd if I don't drink. Like I could tell a difference in my body if I don't drink enough water. And so
Mhm.
once again, just that's another part of the physical well-being, especially during the holidays. So once again, the holidays aren't they don't have to be about deprivation. You don't have to deprive
Mhm.
yourself of the things that are happening, the foods
Mhm.
and things like that. It's about celebrating and connecting in ways that leave us feeling good, but you want to feel good inside and out. So you can make these small intentional, say that word out, intentional choices that can really make a difference. So there's a quote that says, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.
Mhm.
So
I
just
like that.
a reminder
Mhm.
to view your physical well-being as an act of self-care, but also it's celebration too. So, this is our vessel. It's the only place we have to live. These bodies we have. So tend to them. Tend to them, tend to them, tend to them. So we've covered the mental, we've covered the physical. And now I'm going to hit on this emotional well being because that is also important. And it can be very tricky during the holidays, especially if you're navigating the waters of family and friend dynamics, or if you're feeling isolated, things like that. Um, it's really easy to have these emotional challenges. And do a check-in with yourself too. Once again, I'm all about the self check-in. So what emotions come to mind when you think about the holidays? So for many, it may be joy and excitement. Others, it might be stress. It might be loneliness. It might be sadness. So to start with that emotional well-being, ask yourself what emotions come to mind when you think of the holidays, and then explore that, because emotional well-being during these times means recognizing and honoring your feelings while also creating space for meaningful connection and resilience. And once again, that meaningful connection could be connection with yourself or connection with others. And so commonly what you see, like from emotional challenge perspective during the holidays, is there's family tensions. Sometimes the holidays bring people together and it brings up some old conflicts and things like that, or it creates new ones. Feelings of loneliness. If you are dealing with grief and loss, or if you're far away from loved ones or anybody you feel you have a deep connection with, it can feel isolating. And then you have that pressure to please. So you may stretch and overstretch yourself, trying to meet everyone's expectations. And of course, this comes with different ways that it affects us. So you might have some feeling like you're inadequate. You may be emotionally fatigued and just drained. You might be irritable. You might have difficulty enjoying the season and bringing joy. And so, with that, of course, I like to give some strategies. So, like, you have to acknowledge and honor your feelings. Give yourself permission to feel emotions without judgment. So if you are grieving and dealing with a loss, it's okay to feel sadness, even when other people are out celebrating or you're around people celebrating. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to take a step back. because suppressing those emotions can lead to greater stress. But if you acknowledge them and honor them, it can create space for healing and self compassion. So, one way you can do this is like set aside 5 minutes every day just to journal how you're feeling. Or you can just sit there quietly and reflect on how I'm feeling or how you're feeling. For myself, I'm a journaler. I've been a journaler since I can remember. I have numerous journals going back to like elementary school. Um, because I have to get it out. So even like I may not even some days I'll just write maybe 2 or 3 sentences, but I just still take that time to like express my emotions and just honor them. And for me, I like to do it by paper. I know some people who use they use like journaling apps where they can just talk to it. They can just talk out their feelings, emotions, and it just stores it in the app. So there's definitely ways, but most important, just acknowledging and honoring your feelings and giving yourself permission to feel your emotions without judgment. And then setting boundaries with intention is also helpful for your emotional well-being. Be clear about your limits with your time, your energy, and your resources. So if attending a large gathering feels overwhelming to you, it's okay. Consider dropping by for a short visit. Hey, I'm gonna come, but I can only stay for 10 minutes. And then you can do your 10 minutes and then be out. And don't feel bad, don't feel guilty or anything about it. But most importantly, honor those boundaries that you set with yourself. And boundaries can help with reducing resentment and allow you to focus on what truly matters to you. So if you have difficulty doing this, but there's a way to practice it. Practice saying no kindly but firmly and sticking to it. Thank you for inviting me, but I need to take some time for myself this evening. So I'm only going to stay for 10 minutes. And bam, there you go. Setting boundaries with intention, being kind, but being firm. Exactly. No is a complete sentence. Say it. Practice saying it. If you need to be alone in a room, in a mirror, practice saying it. I remember going to a workshop once where we had to pair up with someone. And we had to get like we're standing across from each other. And we just had to practice saying no. But we had to escalate it. So it started off like with a low whisper, and then we had to escalate our no's into yelling and screaming no at the top of our lungs. And it felt good afterwards. It did. That was the most I've ever said no in my life, and I've been completely comfortable with saying no since. So practice saying no, and setting those boundaries with intention.
Love it. No, I was just saying, love it. Very funny. Funny.
No. Thank you for the invite, but I'm taking time for myself this evening. Totally fine. And then fostering meaningful connections also helps with your emotional well-being. So once again, focus on quality and not quantity. And you can do that. You can do this in numerous ways, but interactions, you want to have something that is quality. So you can share a heartfelt comment or express gratitude to someone who you feel is important. You can host a small gathering for friends or family and play games, watch movies, talk. Once again, it's just about the quality, that meaningful connections that you can foster. And then of course, general, like in those genuine connections that we create fulfill our needs for belonging and providing that emotional nourishment. So those meaningful connections, and once again, if you feel like you don't have meaningful connections right now, to start, you just have to put yourself out there. So whether that's finding, if your interest in things like that. So say you have an interest in bird watching, you can look up bird watching groups in your area, or even bird watching groups online and things like that, and just kind of put yourself in the mix. Not saying that you're going to jump in finding a meaningful connection. Meaningful connections take time to build, but that will at least point you in a direction of finding someone who shares same interests as you and shares the same things that you find value in. And so that's just a way, one of the ways that you can start that. And then, and we come back to with emotions too, practicing gratitude and giving is another way you're shifting your focus from what's missing to what's present. So you can write a gratitude list each evening, or even as you're eating and chewing food, taking a moment to reflect on the taste, the flavors, whoever prepared it, and just noting what you are thankful and grateful for. And even like giving can be very healing too. So with that, you can do like an act of kindness. You can donate to a charity or even help a neighbor. Write holiday cards or something. There are numerous ways that you can go about, once again, getting creative, using giving as a healing modality and boosting your own emotional well-being. And so when you have that gratitude and giving as healing perspective, you can create these what they call positive emotional loops that foster joy and help reduce feelings of scarcity or loneliness. So I practice gratitude and giving. And I like to even give, sometimes like I've walked in places and you see someone who they're having like a really horrible day. And I would just like look at them and they'll stare at me and I'll just smile. You know? Sometimes the best gift I could give someone is a smile. And I've had people do that to me too. Like I forgot where I was the other day, but I was in my head like hardcore. And I'm pretty sure like my face didn't seem like it was inviting at all. Because it's one of those days where a lot was going on. And I had this woman, she was walking by and she was like, it's okay to smile. And I looked up at her and I couldn't do anything but smile. Because I was like, number one, that's super random. But number two, I was like, you're right. I do need to, I don't have a smile on my face, and I haven't had a smile on my face in a few hours. So she said it was okay to smile, and that made me smile. And then I felt this warmth, and I felt so much positive energy just from that one interaction. So once again, like for me, like that improved my emotional well-being in that moment, just by this random lady out in public who looked at me and said, it's okay to smile. And I smiled and I laughed. And so it's a quote that is Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." And it's that reminder of that emotional resilience that we have within us, that come from within, can light up even the most challenging of moments, especially in the holidays.
Hey, Cassandra, this is awesome. We have, I just wanted to ask the audience if they could put in the chat. She's given a lot of pointers and things that we can do to shift ourselves and shift our presence, our being into a different space. Is there anything you can think about, share that you have done, that you can do to shift your space from being heavy, a little sad, a little depressed, that can kind of shift you into another? She talked about giving, gratitude, smiling. It's amazing what smiling would do. I will smile when I'm on the phone talking a situation. I will intentionally put a big smile on my face because it changes the tone of my voice, even when I'm really peed off, right? So smiling. So put in the chat. Go ahead and let us know in the chat. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to let us know where you're listening in from, and give us some feedback. All right, go right ahead.
And I want to put another one of that's smiling. So one practice that I initiated, and I read it somewhere, I can't remember where, but it was about just going into like in front of a mirror, standing in front of a mirror, and just smiling at yourself, like
Mhm.
smiling as big as you can at yourself.
Mhm.
And I found like even when I do it, like I'll go in there and then I'll end up laughing at myself for smiling at
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it just
Mhm.
would make me
Mhm.
feel lighter and just make me giggle. I love it all the time. So that's
Mhm.
just another smile activity
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
do to help
That's
make it.
it. Makes such a huge difference. Phoenix put reminding myself of all the people who care for me and are rooting for me. That is one, honey. It will pull your spirits up every single time. You know, and sometimes all you need is that one person, right? Because sometimes we feel all alone by
Mhm.
ourselves, and we all we need is that one person. We can remember that one person. Um, and so that's a good one, Phoenix. Yes, remember it will put a smile on our face. Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Being enveloped in the love and support.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
visualization is powerful.
Mhm. Mhm. And you know, one of the breathing exercises we talked about breath work earlier, and one of the breathing exercises, you can think about your favorite color. And when you're taking those, and if we had someone he put in the chat, taking those moments of intentional breaths, you know, and thinking about, you know, if you didn't know, purple is my favorite color. So thinking about that, your favorite color. And as you're breathing, inhale, I forget the name of the breath that they call it, but it kind of helps you relieve some of the tensions in your shoulder and your back. And you can envision when you inhale, whatever you think about that color, what does that color remind you? For me, royalty, purple is royalty, it's peace, it's comfort. It's, you know, it brings about a soothing, right? So your color might be yellow, it might be red, whatever that color is. And as you are taking your inhale, allowing that to come in, and the feelings that you have around that color, right? And allowing it to envelop you and go to the areas of your body. If it's your shoulders, you know, we hold a lot of tension here in our shoulders, right? I'm still holding my breath, y'all. Y'all didn't know that, huh? I'm still holding my breath, and then allowing yourself to exhale. So that's allowing it, you pulling it in, and then allowing it to come out. Yeah. Pull it in, think about your favorite color and what that represents to you. It may put yellow, put it sunshine, put a smile on your face, and then let it out. And it kind of helps to relieve some of that tension we hold in your shoulders and in your back. Yes. All right. That
Mhm.
was my little tidbit on those things that she's already talked about. We are getting so much rich information. Yes, yes. Anyone else want to add to the chat? Add to the chat.
Yes,
Anything else? All right, my lady, go right
please
ahead.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just have our last dimension left, y'all. We're on our spiritual well being and rediscovering meaning. Here we are.
Yes.
We're in the final
Yes.
day.
Yes. And
So
that's that
even
powerful
here
one.
with this
Yes.
one,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yes. And of course, the holidays are a great time to reflect on what matters most. Because it's easy to get caught up in the material side of the season, the gifts, the decorations, the planning, the gatherings, the figuring out how to get this and that. Um, it's easy to get caught up in it. And so it's really, and that's why it's most important to really reflect on that meaning. And so, the holidays are often described as, it's the season of joy, it's the season of giving, and things like that. But what does that truly mean for you on a spiritual level? And so when it comes to spiritual well being, it's about connecting with something greater than ourselves, whether it's through faith, whether it's through nature, community, or inner peace. It's all about an opportunity to rediscover meaning and purpose amidst the holiday hustle. And so when it comes to those challenges during the holidays, you have, once again, like I mentioned, the materialism. So it's the focus on gifts and consumerism, and that can overshadow deeper meanings. Those overcommitments, once again, those busy schedules tend to leave time for little time for reflection and spiritual practices. So if you've been in the hustle and bustle of it all day, and then when it comes nighttime, instead of just taking a moment to reflect on the day or even do that self check in, you might just be exhausted. And then it can lead to disconnect. So for some people, the holidays can amplify feelings of disconnection, or even a lack of purpose during them. And this can lead to us feeling this, like, a sense of emptiness or even discontent, despite the celebrations going around. You might even feel difficulty finding joy or fulfillment in the season. And so this is why it's one of those good times where you can reflect on personal meaning and intentions. Take time to ask yourself, what does this season truly mean to me? And you can explore what that is. So for some people, it might mean gratitude for life's blessing. It might be renewal and hope for the new year. Releasing things that have been going on, or new behaviors or thoughts or things like that, releasing them in preparation for the new year, or even deepening connection with loved ones. So you really have to ask yourself, what does this season truly mean to me? And then really that reflection will help you to align your actions with your values and help you to create a better sense of purpose. So you can write down one intention for the holidays and revisit it every day to help guide your decisions and focus. Or you can really just see where that personal meeting takes you and really explore that and lean into it. And so another aspect of that is to reconnect with those spiritual practices or rituals. So you can incorporate, once again, simple, meaningful rituals that really nourish your soul. And that could be whether you like attend a faith-based service or you just go to a gathering that really resonates with you, that on a spiritual level. You can light a candle like every evening, just as a moment and a symbol or reflection of like peace and a time for you to really just being yourself. Once again, like even how we mentioned earlier with the mindfulness and the breathing, you can light a candle every evening at a certain time, and that is just your moment to breathe and just be with yourself or reflect. You can meditate or pray for a few minutes daily just to help center yourself and ground yourself. Or you can create that gratitude or intention jar where you can even get, if you live with people, you can get them involved and you can just add notes of gratitude and intention into the jar. And most importantly, it's about creating a ritual, and rituals create sacred space and help anchor you into the present moment as well. Most importantly, it helps you stay connected to what matters most. So reconnect with those spiritual practices and rituals. And then I like to also include foster a sense of awe and wonder. I love moments that inspire me. Like seeking out moments that inspire awe and remind me of life's beauty and mystery. I absolutely love it. And that could be something like spending time in nature. Like you can, once again, depending on your temperature, you might take a walk through a forest. You might just go outside and watch the stars. If it's snowing where you are, you can just sit at the window and watch the snow fall. For me, I like to just sit there, like in my backyard. There's a lot of action with squirrels and things like that. So I just like to sit and watch the squirrels and the birds. And I just like stare, and it always fascinates me to see them, how they like the squirrels are like running up these tall trees, and I'm just like, wow, like it is cold, but also that's a really tall tree, and you're going like, phew. And it just amazes me how they do that, or even seeing the different birds that come around, and I can hear them singing to each other, and it just fascinates me. And so for me, it just that inspires that awe and that one sense of wonder in me. And you can do this like even reflecting on miracles that happen in everyday life. Like for example, that woman who had told me it's okay to smile. Like I was in awe. I also felt inspired by that because it's like this random woman spoke to me and said it's okay to smile, and it made me smile on a day where I was feeling like ugh, absolutely, like a smile was the last thing on my mind.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that
Awesome.
that moment was beautiful, and it inspired that sense of awe and wonder.
Mhm.
So
I
yes,
think
and
that's
then
awesome. Someone put in the chat, Cassandra, the intention jar is a wonderful idea. Um, and I would just like to ask the audience, what are some of the miracles that you have experienced? Just
mm,
share in the
good
chat. What
question.
are some of the miracles when you stop and you pause with your intentional breath and when you really get present in the moment? What are some of the miracles? We think miracles are sometimes something, boom, bang, boo, right? It has to be whoa,
Right.
huge. And those are wonderful too, trust and believe. They are. But what are some of the miracles? How about the miracle of breath? Just being able to breathe. How about that? How about the miracle of getting up on your
Yeah.
own two legs if you're able to do so? If you're not able to do so, someone had mentioned reminding myself of all the people who care for me and are rooting for me. So you might be disabled right now and you may have caregivers, but the fact that you have a caregiver, because there's some folks that don't,
Hmm.
that's a miracle, the blessing. So if you can put in the chat, we would greatly appreciate it. And Cassandra, you go ahead and do what you do.
No, I love it once again, and this is part of that. But that improving that well being is the focus on and highlight these things, become aware, and really start paying attention because it happens a lot. It happens every day. The things that you give gratitude for and the miracles. Ah, I see you have a comment. Music.
Yeah, go. You can go ahead. You can read it. Music is a miracle.
Music is a miracle. I feel like music has saved my life multiple times. And that was
Mhm.
actually one of the examples I was going to give too. So thank you, Izzy
See, look
J, for
at
pointing
there.
that out because listening to music and engaging in art can uplift your soul. I
Mhm.
myself created, I was working a super stressful job and I had always said I would never take a job in downtown Atlanta because I hate the traffic. Um, Life happened and I took a job in downtown Atlanta. And I, and
Won't
I
it
had
do
to be
it?
and I had to be there during the worst times of the day.
No. Mhm.
I had to be there at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning
Mhm.
person, and I'm in traffic for like an hour and a half. And where I stayed at, without traffic, I could get to at that where I stayed at. Then I could get to downtown Atlanta in like 23 minutes without traffic. It was taking me an hour and a half to
Mhm.
get to work. And
Mhm.
so I created a morning playlist, and that became part of my morning routine. I would play my songs, and it was like one of my songs. It was "Good Vibrations," like that.
Mhm.
See, real songs like "Good Vibrations." Like, I'm talking about the good vibration. And so I would sit there. I was a singer, but it would always
Yes.
get me up like "Good vibration," and I would just wake up, and that was my thing. I would put on my tracks, and that would help me prepare for the day. It just uplifted my spirit by playing those songs, and it was probably like 10 of them on that playlist. But I would play those the entire way until I got to work because I needed those.
Okay.
So yes, music.
You have
Phoenix says,
another one there. Hmm.
I see the Phoenix says the miracle of self-expression through art and writing. Oh yes, beautiful too. The art got me through a lot of times, especially as when I was younger. I drew a lot of everything and writing. I used to write short stories, and I went through a hardcore poetry phase too. But writing and art can be so transformative, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it's a miracle, as you said. The miracle
Hmm.
of self-expression is something
Hmm.
that we have, and we can be able to tap into anytime, day or night.
Hmm.
Do it. Do it. And once again, like having that awe and wonder has been shown to like reduce stress and increase feelings of connection and gratitude. So, find a way to incorporate that into your daily experience. You can even they have these things called wonder walks where you just take like a short walk, and you just focus on noticing the beauty around you. whether it's the color of the leaves on the trees or how that branch makes an interesting shape because it curves and swirls and twists, or a vine that just does this beautiful cascading up and down another house or a tree or something. Just taking that time to really tap in and foster that sense of wonder and awe. And then lastly, for spiritual, embracing giving as a spiritual practice. So letting acts of giving come from the heart and not just giving from obligation. So you can do this in numerous ways. So you can volunteer for a cause that aligns with your values. You can create or give personalized, thoughtful gifts rather than expensive ones. You can offer your time, your attention, or even like your listening ear to someone who is in need. And those are just some examples of giving. And so giving shifts the focus from material pursuits to a shared humanity, and and will also deepen your sense of purpose. And so I know for me, it was many, many times where all I had to give was my presence. But the people who I gave my presence to, like, I felt good that I can show up and I could be there in the present moment and just really be with them. And they also felt gratitude that I was there and present. So just finding that way of embracing giving as a spiritual practice can be really, really powerful. So once again, spiritual well-being isn't about grand gestures. It's often about quiet, meaningful moments that connect us to ourselves, to others, and to something greater. And so the holidays are a perfect time to discover that connection. And so, because I do love a quote. So there's a quote that says, "In the depths of winter, I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer." And that quote serves as a reminder that inner peace and meaning can be found even during the busy and most challenging times.
Repeat, repeat.
And so I just want to,
Repeat that
encourage
again.
you all. Repeat the quote. It
Mm-hmm.
says, "In the depth of winter,
Mm-hmm.
I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer." It's a good quote, right?
Now, if I can spell invincible.
Yes, yes, yes. But then once again, it's just that reminder, like, inner peace and meaning can be found even in the most challenging and chaotic and stressful and busiest of times. You can still find inner peace. It's a beautiful thing. So I just
Mhm.
encourage you all to just take one idea from today and put it into practice. Whether you're prioritizing your self care, whether you're setting boundaries, where you're reflecting on your values and meaning, every small step counts. So definitely do it. And so, you know, just once again, another quote: happiness doesn't doesn't result from what we get, but from what we give.
I like that too. From
Yes.
what we
This one
get.
got in. Yes, happiness doesn't result from what we get, but from what we give.
That's awesome. That is,
Yes.
what makes that so profound is, I was sharing before you started, before you came on. One of the things I shared was we do the people that do this, those of us that do this kind of work, we do it from a space of giving because we know what it
Mhm.
feels like to be in grief, sadness, loss, depression, um, lost in feelings and emotions and feeling like you're alone and lonely. We don't do this because we don't have nothing better to do. We do this because we know that in giving this, okay, we heal ourselves, we inspire ourselves,
Mhm.
we uplift ourselves. So I agree with you wholeheartedly with that. My family, some of my family, well, all of my family asked, no, what are you doing and why?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But I said somebody. I don't know who's going to log on, who's going to, but somebody. Let me tell you that information you gave tonight. Somebody, even after they see this later, this is going to help somebody. We saved somebody's life tonight. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure of it. Even if it was our own. How about that?
Yes, 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 yes,
Even
yes,
if it
and
was our
yes.
own. Yes.
I'm there for that. So once
Mhm.
again, that's just it. So I hope that everyone who watched leave like ends this with feeling inspired and feeling more equipped to create and embrace a season filled with joy, balance, and renewal. Because there's no time like the present.
Mhm.
There's no time like the present to bring
Mhm.
that into your life and to maintain it.
Mhm.
So once again, I appreciate you allowing me to come and join the platform and hang with you good folks. Once
Well,
again,
I appreciate you coming. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, not a problem. Like you said, I do this because I want to be that support. This is my gift. Once again, I'm giving a gift to everyone. I'm giving a gift to myself. This is meaning and purpose. Um
Mhm.
all in one. So I appreciate the
Yeah,
opportunity.
it's meaning and purpose magnified, you know, and
Yes.
it's authentic. You can tell the passion there and it's authentic. And I want to say thank you. Audience, are there any questions you want to ask Dr. Cassandra Jackson? Now, are there any questions? Any questions? Put it in the chat. What was said and stated for those of you that have been on the entire time? Anything that has been said uh, that um, that really resonated with you. We have one that says, "This was amazing. I send my gratitude, y'all. Gratitude to y'all." That's Izzy J. And that,
Gratitude.
look at that. I
Thank
can't
you,
hide that
Izzy.
comment. Look at that.
Yes,
Yes,
gratitude, gratitude,
yes,
gratitude.
yes.
Beautiful.
Gratitude. Is there anything that any questions that you have for Cassandra? Anything that was said? Um, I don't know what's going on here. I hope you guys are not seeing a freeze on your end. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. We want to thank you. We know that you are what? So it's what? 11, 12, 1, almost 2 where you are.
Yep. Almost 2
Yeah.
a.m.
Yeah, almost 2 a.m. It says here we have Phoenix says, wait a minute, let's see. She says, thank you so much for sharing so much positivity this Christmas. Yes, I have to agree. This Christmas, this season, yes, thank you for sharing it. Even if you don't, some don't celebrate it. If it's Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or whatever it is you celebrate. This season is, we want to say thank you so much. And then Izzy said, also, I want um, oh,
Mhm.
he says also, what are some of the ways to protect our emotional health when dealing with relationships coming from a college student? Okay.
Ooh, yes. Oh, that's a good question. The first thing that comes to my mind is boundaries.
Mhm.
Boundaries, but also knowing what is important to you. And that can go many ways. You have to know yourself and be aware of how you want to operate, how you want your relationship, how you want to exist in that relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's something that's intimate. How do you want to be and what works for you? And that way, if you know those things, you can be able to set boundaries accordingly if you need to. But also, like, watch expectations because
Mm.
expectations play a big role in that emotional well-being as well. Because
Mhm.
sometimes we expect things from people and they are just not capable. Like they don't have a capable
Mhm.
bone in their body for
Mhm.
coming anywhere close to meeting their those expectations. And we're like, no, you can do it. It's just simple, do. And it's like they do not.
Mhm.
They just don't have it, and that's
Mhm.
okay. It just means that they're
Mhm.
just not for you.
Mhm.
Or at least you know how
Mhm.
to put them in like
Mhm.
what category they may go in.
Mhm.
So if this is someone who, you had briefly considered as a best friend, like, okay, you know what?
Mhm.
You're a good acquaintance.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but like
Mhm.
you, our needs and where I'm at and where you're at are completely different. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm saying all these this because all these impact your emotional well-being, and so you can be
Mhm.
able to set up those boundaries and know how to operate and interact with those individuals, um, who you're in that relationship with. I hope that helps.
Mhm. That was good.
Anything you
That
want
was
to
good. Thank you for sharing it. Yes, also, I would
add?
say absolutely just being aware. And expectations is huge. That's in all of our relationships, people. We
Yep.
have to be really set our expectations, check them. Our expectations will ruin
Yep.
relationships, and because we have not proper put them in their proper place. We move people into positions they shouldn't be moved into because we have an expectation that they can feel it. Cassandra said it just eloquently. She said some people just don't, they're not capable. Don't make them a bad person. That just mean that's not, they're not ready for that, or they're not capable in this to emotionally um, feed you what is needed. The emotional what is the bandwidth is not there. So I think
Yeah.
that is absolutely, and that's across the board. I think it's you hit the nail on the head too. You talked about how we navigate through this season. um, Being able to set, I love to use the word standards, uh, rather than boundaries, because it allows us to expand versus confine. So whatever the
Mhm.
standards, whatever the boundaries, whatever it is you set up and establish, be clear about that. You know what I'm saying? And it really protects your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So that was awesome. Yeah, all of the things above, and not being afraid to say no. Sometimes we are people pleasers, um, and so because we don't want, I mean, everybody, we talked about, that was something we talked about. I talked about when we started the broadcast tonight. Cassandra is, the validation. There's nothing wrong with being appreciated, and there's nothing wrong with someone, validating. But when your life is around that and you make your choices and decisions on that, that's when it becomes unhealthy for you. And so in this
Mm.
season, it can affect you in ways, in this season and in general, it can affect you in ways that can um, hinder, um,
Mm.
block, and change the trajectory of your life if you are not clear and present with how you're moving. So that was an excellent question. Excellent question. All right, Cassandra, I
Mhm.
want to say
Jolly
thank you.
good.
You have been with us for about an hour and a half. I mean, I'm enjoying it. That's all you got? You ain't got nothing else? No.
Look, we could do some talking now.
We can do this. Hey. We can do this thing. I appreciate any other questions from the listening audience. Again, thank you. Thank you for liking. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for being a part of our first online. We're calling it a marathon, and we're sure we're going to do it again. In the future. And we want to say thank you. You have empowered, you have left inspiration to those that are in need. And we say thank you. Ashe. Ashe, and thank you. Enjoy the rest of your, I know you probably get ready to go to get you some rest, and enjoy your evening and your day tomorrow. Okay.
Thanks. First order of business is I'm going to get some water.
Well, that part there,
Hydrate.
that part. It's funny when you said that. I thought about my son, because I am really bad once I'm out going, doing, working, or whatever it is that I've been doing. But he used to say that to me all the time. Um, did you eat? Did you drink some water? And because I would be so exhausted, and I'm trying to figure out why I'm so exhausted.
Mhm. Gotta
I
do it.
ain't had no water, no.
Yeah,
And
have to
started the
nourish
day.
that body.
You have to. It's important. It's imperative. So, absolutely. Thank you, my lady. And we will see you
Thank
next
you.
time. Thank you.
Very
Appreciate you.
well. See you then.
Peace. Mhm. All righty. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you. This is our first live stream where we are here bridging the gap beyond hope solutions, bringing the bridging the gap beyond solutions and leaving you in the space of inspiration. And we want to say thank you to Cassandra. She left a lot of information that will uplift our spirits if we apply it. This is the other key, y'all. You got to apply the stuff, because if you don't know, just one thing, you ain't got to do it all. Even take one of the items that was talked about tonight that resonated with you, and start implementing it into your life immediately, and you start equipping yourself, so when you have those moments, those times, those seasons when you're feeling a little upsy turbsy down, or whatever the case may be, you are ready for it. So what we're going to do right now, we have a video that we're going to show you. So hold your horses, don't go nowhere. Make sure you subscribe, share, and like. And this is from our very own Dr. Gentry, Erling Gentry. She did our support group one of this year on caregiver support, and it was an awesome session. So I want to share that this is for the caregivers, and for those that may be needing some assistance and help. Here we go. We got a video for you right here. Uh-oh, y'all, I'm having a bit of a challenge here. All right, there it is. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Here you go.
Moment. Praise him however you praise him. It may not be through song, it may just simply by crying out, or a word of prayer, maybe just sitting silently and just being still, and know that he is God and that he will take you through anything. I prayed for patience. I prayed for compassion. I prayed for empathy. Empathy is simply allowing myself to be mentally switch myself into my husband's role, to understand how he felt, to understand how some of the reactions that I felt from him. Sometimes I felt frustrated. Sometimes I felt unappreciated. But then God reminded me, when you pray, he will open up your mind and allow you to really understand, why is this person responding to me like that? When I think about it, I thought about my husband being being the head of this household. He was a good provider, and he always did everything. I didn't have to depend on him to even put gas in my car. So when the roles switched, that was devastating to him. That was devastating. I had to open the door for him. Sometimes I would walk ahead of him, and I remembered I had to slow down because he couldn't walk as fast anymore. Why? Because he had a triple bypass. Later on years, he had a stroke. And all of that, he still fought to live because of the love we both had for each other. So I was willing to do whatever it took to keep him going, to encourage him. I used to take him to the Carson Community Stroke Center every day, take him to the Stroke Center so that he could play chair volleyball and be with other people like himself, because that's what encouraged him. And I really, really appreciated all the love and support that I received, not only my husband received, but that I received when he attended the Stroke Center. So you see, when I think about all the things that I went through, it's nothing compared to what he went through. So that's really how I was able to funnel through all of that. And then when I think about caring for my mother, who lived with me for several years, I think about maybe 15 to 18 years she lived here with us. And both my husband and my mother passed away in the same year. My husband passed away in April of 2017. My mother 3 months later in July of 2017. But the reason I want to tell you it's so important to have a relationship with God. I'll never forget 3 days before my husband died, he was sitting on the side of the hospital bed that's right at the foot of my bed. And I didn't really sleep sound because I always was kind of checking on him. And he was sitting on the side of the bed. And I heard these words so clear in my mind. It was like, since I write poetry, I jotted them down. And the words were, death is a process. I said, okay, Lord, so what are you trying to tell me? 3 days later, Roy passed. So you see, God prepared me, and he'll do the same for you no matter what you're going through in life. It's just when I think about the goodness of the Lord, oh yes, I can shout hallelujah, hallelujah. And when I think about during that same time in 2014, I hope I'm not going too fast. My daughter LaShawn came to live with me because she had some mental issues, and and it was like I was in a dream that I wanted to get out of, but yet I knew that I needed to be there for all three of them. And I see that God got me through it all, And I still have my daughter with me right now. And I'm just thanking God. I thank God every day for the breath of life and to know that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. And as I say before, when you kind of think in terms of if you're caring for someone, it could be a loved one, it could be a total stranger, but always take the time to find yourself in their mindset. What did they used to do? What was their background? How did they survive before these things, with whatever health issues they may have, that got them to have to shed their independence and to be dependent on someone else? That's not easy. It is not easy. So you just have to understand what it takes to be able to handle life as it's given to you. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't change anything for the world. And one of the things that helped me so much, as I said earlier, was prayer, praise, and worship. And because
That's
God has
awesome.
given me the gift of poetry, um, I always have journaled. So I journal. And I'm trying to write a book. Been writing it for ever since the time that these things start happening to me. And by the grace of God and talking to Iris, she's been encouraging me, and we're gonna get this done. And so I'm
Yes.
thanking God for His grace and His mercy. And I don't want to take over this whole time, but I just want you to know that God works miracles. He really does. And when you think about God has that power, He's given us that authority to use His power through us and to work through us in so many ways. And the last thing I will share with you is this last scripture, because I'm telling you, if you feed on His word, in other words, you know how you eat every day, you might snack, you might eat a balanced meal or whatever, but one of those meals should be found in the word of God, because it is a lamp unto your feet and a light to your path, and only what you do for Christ will last. And so the last thing I'm going to read to you, I guess you can kind of say it's a benediction. It's also in Ephesians, and it's verses 20, verse 20 and 21. And it simply says, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. That's you and me. To him be glory in the church by Christ Jesus for all generations, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Amen. Awesome. Thank you so
Amen.
much for sharing that.
Amen.
Can you give that first scripture? It was not recording, and I thought it was, so I apologize for that. But what was the first scripture that you gave when you started?
Okay, that was Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10.
2
And
and
it
10.
says,
Okay.
for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do what? Good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. In other words, you can't have faith without works. They go together. They go together, just like we
Awesome.
fold our hands in prayer. And I thank you for this time. Iris, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And God bless everybody on this line. And know that you can make it. You don't have to fake it. You can make it because God is on the throne. And he tells us that we can go to a place in the time of need and receive his abundant care and love in all that we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. We appreciate it. You guys can send up an emoji. Thank you. We appreciate that. Leave a thank you in the chat. You said some really powerful things in your share, and I want to capture. And then if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put it in the chat as well, and I'll ask the question for you. But one of the things you said about caregiving is understanding purpose. And so, what I would like to ask you in that understanding purpose in the time of frustration, because one of the, and you said something, I like how you ended that, how you don't have to fake it. A lot of times we think, particularly those of us that are Christian, we think that we have to fake it till we make it. And we are suffering on the inside.
Right.
And we're thinking that we are not truly believing and trusting God, and we're having some guilt around that. When in fact, we are definitely spiritual beings having a human experience, but we have to get over it, or to get through it. We have to acknowledge it, right? Acknowledge that is there. So with that stated, when you say understanding purpose as a caregiver, what does, unpack that a little more? What does that mean? I know you did say you had to be able, there were times where you had to look, particularly with your husband, consider how he felt, and how he was a provider, and how he wasn't able to do the things that he normally did. So how did that impact you? How did that define, or how did understanding your purpose help you in that process of empathy?
Well, I guess in more ways than one, when you think about marriage as a whole, and all the things that we were able to do prior to him getting ill, and and I'll have to share this with you. I'll never forget one of my class reunions. They had asked my husband, asked me if I would. I was on the committee, and they asked me if my husband would sing and be a part of the entertainment, and so he said no. So it was during the time that it was his 50th birthday. So I was going to surprise him. I went over to my brother's house to learn how to sing this song for him on his birthday as a special tribute that was printed in the program. So long story short, I sang the song, and they asked him, "Are you going to let Erlene outdo you?" He says, "No." So they make me sit down in the middle of the dance floor, and he sung "I Bet You by Golly Wow" to me. So when I think about my purpose, I think that if the roles were reversed, he would have did the same for me. And so I knew that my purpose in life, as I became his wife and the mother of his children, was to take care of him as he took care of me, and to take care of our children. So when the roles reversed, that still meant that if he couldn't take care of me, I had to take care of us both.
Awesome. Awesome. Like that. So pretty much you taking the leap of taking on the role of going out before him, encourage him to step out beyond his what he was uncomfortable with.
Yes. Because you know what, Iris, I'll never forget during the time when he was in rehab at Long Beach Memorial. And there were times when I tried to encourage him, because he really had a really good singing voice. But when he had his stroke, he would not sing. Because they were telling him that stroke survivors, if you sing, it helps you. I couldn't get him to do it. So anyway, the guy that was over that part of the speech, he asked me to help him with the singing. So one time, we did Tina Turner. So I was Proud Mary. So what I'm saying, I was trying my best, however I could, to encourage him to know that I would do whatever it took to get him to the place where he needed to be in his recovery.
Awesome. All righty. So you mentioned cheerful obedience. What does that mean? Especially with sometimes depending on the whatever the care is, or let me rephrase that. Depending on, let me say it like this. I know when I watched my loved ones, my mom, my grandmother, health deteriorate, I was not sure, it didn't feel good.
I know. Well,
It
this
didn't
is
feel
what I
good.
can, this is what I
So
can
how,
tell you, and you're going to probably laugh. Sometimes you can, like they say, you can turn a mess into a miracle. I remember, especially because a lot of times my husband always wanted something to eat that he shouldn't be eating, or wanted more that he already had.
They
enough.
always do, right?
Right, always do that. So anyway, he wanted something. I said, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry, but I've already given you that, and you don't need it anymore." So now, as long as we've been married, he's never cursed me. We've never had a fight. We've argued, but we've never had no blows. No blows was ever hit this face. But anyway, he kind of lifted his hand, like I said, "Oh, so you gonna hit me?" I said, "I tell you what, brother. If you think for 1 minute that I'm going to let you hit me and I'm not going to defend myself, you got another thing coming." Girl, he burst out laughing, and so did I. So that's how sometimes the cheerfulness comes in, because you kind of make it happen.
Awesome. All righty, I like that. Don't forget, you guys, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put it in the chat or any comments. You also stated that love, you made the distinction of love is exceptional and not a duty. I thought that was powerful. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, yes, because God gives us that unconditional love. And when you have a relationship with God, you can really feel and feed into what that unconditional love really signifies. The meaning of unconditional love means I will be there, just like by the grace of God through Jesus Christ. He said that he would be there with us even to the ends of the earth.
So how did you deal with the stress of, I didn't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you, in the context of all of that, you were taking care of your husband, your mother, you said was 95 years old, and your daughter. And I know you mentioned a mental health. Do you want to say what the mental health issue is? The only reason I ask is because I know I have people that will listen to this that have had the same challenge that your daughter had.
Right. They said it was sort of like a breakdown, a stressful breakdown, but she was diagnosed as affective schizophrenia.
Okay.
But I think but then one of the doctors that did treat her, he said that it was severe depression. He named it severe depression. And so by her, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I'm telling you, prayer changes things. I asked God to open up a door for her, not to make it easier on me, but so that for herself and she has 4 sons, and I wanted to make sure that her legacy would not be left in such a state where she wasn't able to enjoy her children, graduate from college. She's able to see 3 of her sons graduate from college. She's now a grandmother. And so what happened was I kept praying. So she gets what they call ECTs. And she's only gets them now for maintenance purposes. And it's electroconvulsive therapy. And you would be amazed of the drastic difference that it made in not only her life and the lives of her son and us as a family. And I thank God every day, even through the trials and tribulations that I faced. And sometimes I would cry. I couldn't sleep sometimes. But prayer got me through. Prayer and friends.
Would you say, let me ask you this, would you say would you also say prayer not only got you through, but it opened up the door to get the help and the support that was needed
That's what I said. That's exactly what I thought you heard me say. I said through prayer, because just like I said, I prayed. I didn't pray like for it to make, for make it convenient for me. I wanted it to be something that she could get better for herself and for her boys. And so to see that God honored an unselfish prayer, I wrote a poem years ago. It's called "Suffer Not for My Own Volition, Not for My Own Self, but for the care and love of somebody else." And that's what we need to do more. When we pray for someone, don't pray because they're getting on your last nerve. Pray so that they can get their nerves together and so that they can get themselves together. Because guess what? When you pray that they get themselves together, guess what? It's going to be better for you anyway.
That's good. That's good. So not a selfish prayer. It's back to that selflessness that you were talking earlier.
Yes.
The distinction between love is exceptional and not a duty. And so you pray a selfish, selfless act. That's powerful. So we're not looking at as a caregiver, so if I'm hearing you correctly, what I'm hearing you say is, as a caregiver for your loved ones, it wasn't about you as much as it was about you being the vessel,
and
the
God was working through.
Conduit to support them in their journey. Awesome. And I would agree with you with that. As a matter of fact, I know that's what got me through, much. And some of those on the call today, and that will see this later, will say the same thing. But I also know that one of the things you talked about, you said it in the context of prayer, praise, and walking, writing, journal, and poetry. And those are all self-care. Those are things you did. That's what you did to take care of yourself.
And sometimes I was not really realizing that that's what I was doing, but that's what God gave me to cope. That God gave me those coping mechanisms that I was able to funnel through and get through and be able to even say what I'm saying to you guys tonight. And one of the things that I'm looking back at this little journal that I read to you earlier, and this little caption, and let me read it to you. It says, "To give real service, you must add something which cannot be bought or measured with money, and that is sincerity and integrity."
That's real. That's real. That's awesome. That's real. Sincerity and integrity. Has anything to do with the dollars and cents of it. And so what would you Oops, I was muted. I just want to ask you guys, what are, in listening to Dr. Earlene Gentry up to this point, talking about caregiving, what are some of the coping, if you're a caregiver, or maybe you're one that is being cared for, what are some of the coping skills you want to put in the chat? What are some of the coping skills that you use? She talked about journaling, writing, walking, poetry, and even earlier in our previous session, journaling came up. I'm a journaler. I like journaling. And writing, and you can do the audible voice journaling now on our phones. We can do it that way. So what are some of the coping skills? If you don't mind putting that and sharing that in the chat, and let some of the other, because what I have found is when you share what you do, or even if you're not sure, but when you share what you do, some of the things that you are utilizing to cope, it can help serve someone else. And if it is not healthy coping, because we do have some unhealthy coping skills sometimes. So don't forget to subscribe and like, by the way. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like. We greatly appreciate it. But if you have unhealthy, so overeating, excessive sugar, excessive coffee, excessive TV watching, anything that we do in excess becomes unhealthy. And so what can we do to kind of offset it and balance it? Anything we want to put in the chat? walking is a good one. I love to walk. I like to walk my dog. I don't get to walk the beach like I used to because I'm not close to the beach anymore. But I do get to get out and walk. You know what? Another for me right now, because of where I am, as I am recouping and healing in my physical body, is stretching, being able to stretch, doing, yeah, coping. We talk about breath work, breathing. So this stretch right here, yeah, I'm moving like that because it's pulling. Um, yeah, it's pulling. It says, we have one here. Let's see. I went from saying I have to take loved one to their appointment. Now I say I get to take the loved one to their appointment. Yes, shifting and changing our perspective. That's awesome. And it's funny that you say that, Valerie, because um, Cassandra that was on earlier, she talked about that, shifting our perception and how we perceive and how we look at things. We get to change the narrative. We get to shift and change the story. Izzy J said drawing is how he copes, and he's a good. Let me tell you, he's a good artist too. He's very good at what he does. So yeah, shifting our perspective, how we see it. I like to say, I don't complain. I'm grateful. No matter what's going on, I'm great. I can feel the pain. Thank God, because some people can't feel the pain. So I'm grateful that I feel the pain. Some people, um, don't have the sense or the feelings of their emotions. So I'm grateful for my emotions. I'm grateful that I get to the opportunity to learn how to balance and to where I'm grateful for the mistakes because they're opportunities for me to learn and grow. So shifting our perspective. Awesome. All righty. A different perspective. Okay, we're going to get right back into the video. Are you guys enjoying it? Awesome. What would you say then? Well, I'm going to come back to that one about the money part of it. You also, well, no, let me, since it presented itself, what would you say to the caregiver who is challenged in the area of financing, meaning that all the needs are not being met, or support system, nursing systems, and all those things that are needed to care for their loved one? What would you say? And they have the burden of both caring, working, feeding, and all of that.
Let me tell you about that. When Roy first had his triple bypass, I was still working for the Auto Club, working in claims, dealing with the public every single day. During the time he had his triple bypass, because we both worked, he was not entitled to a caregiver. The caregiver was me. So during the time he was here at home, convalescing with the triple bypass, he got shingles. So that coupled with shingles. So I'm at work and I'm saying, Lord, how can I, and I always would pray when I sit at my desk, because my motto was treat people the way I wanted to be treated. So I could not take what was happening at home to work. So sometimes I didn't hardly get sleep. So I said, Lord, something's got to happen. Something's got to happen for me. So I funneled through that by the grace of God, because I knew that all the weight was on me, other than having, like my son and my daughters, to pick up a few things here and there. But actually, like I told my husband, one of the things that we both really, that as a couple, we really had to understand, he had me to take care of him. No one else would take care of him like I did. I don't care if it's your daughters or your sons or what, it's just not happening. So one of my prayers, one of my unselfish prayers was, Lord, please give me the strength, keep me in a reasonable portion of strength and health, so that I can take care of my husband first, because they tell us when you get married, you leave and cleave, your husband comes first. Yes, my mother did live with me, but my husband came first. Then I also prayed, help me, Lord, so I'll be able to take care of my mother who lived with me. I do have 2 sisters, but she lived with me, so you know the answer to that one. So God got me through it. That's all I can tell you. He got me through. But for those of you, just like, for example, with my daughter, LaShawn, when she first started having what was going on with her, and she had a social worker, and he would come to the house sometimes, and I never get, one day he came here, he said, early, he said, Miss Gentry, he said, are you getting anything for taking care of your daughter? I said, no. He said, well, you should. I said, I don't want to bother with that. He said, I tell you what, he said, you're taking care of your husband, your mother, and your daughter. He said, you get the paperwork rolling. I'll come to your home and I will fill it out for you. So what you guys have to realize is when you, I keep saying stress in a relationship with God, when you're in need of something and you need doors to be open and you have going through something, if you trust and truly trust and believe, you shall receive. So just hold on to God's unchanging hand and do what you need to do. Go before the throne.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That is so powerful. Holding on and trusting God, unchanging hand, and remembering that God is, the Holy Spirit is in us.
Yes.
That's when we started this. We talked about our breath and the breath of God, that when he breathed in us, we became a living soul. And so that gave us, so we breathe life with our words and what we say and how we speak over our circumstances and situations. Even in the midst of frustration, I know I often, even to this day, when I'm going through a challenge, and I have, I'm human. I like to say I'm human. I'm a spiritual being, but sometimes I have real human moments, and I don't think real human moments. And so, and I may have a moment, and then I'll say, but God is still good. God is still faithful. God is still directing my path. He is still, I'm still favored by God. I still am in the right place at the right time to receive and give exactly what's needed in this moment and in this season. And so that is developing our personal relationship with God. So what I want to talk about is, you talked about death is a process. I know you stated that your husband, he's already he's transitioned, and your mother has transitioned. Let me just say, if you don't mind, can I tell your age?
Oh yeah, I'm 78. I'll be 79 this year. I'll be 80 next year.
This young lady here looks good. So she is well preserved. Let me just tell you, she is well preserved. She does not look her age on no shape, form, and it got a hair full of hair just glowing. No.
Get out of here.
And so that is the grace and the favor of God, of course.
Yeah.
That is learning how to self-care. You talked about how even sometimes when you felt guilty, you still would walk around and allow just the freshness of outdoors to kind of hit your face and rejuvenate you and give you what you needed. Yes, and then it says, my mom, who was that? Let's see, let me look and see what
that's my daughter, Celia.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Advocate for everyone she cared for. That is so important when seeking resources and care. Yes, it's so important.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so important that you have the right people to advocate for you and support for you. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's her daughter talking. So I want you to talk about, you mentioned the death process. And one thing I know for certain in caregiving, so ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you, she talked about, I don't know where my face went. Okay, I don't know what to do. Can you help me, Sunshine? But so you guys that are here, she talked about self-care, things we do to self-care. What are some of the things you can put in the chat? Please let me know some of the things that you do for self-care, I'm not sure what I did with my, oh, here it is. It must be getting late. Oh my God, you gotta laugh at yourself, people. Oh, that was funny. So, what are some of the things you do for self care? What are some of your self care resume or your things you do? We talked about, of course, coping skills, but the coping skills can be laced around self care as well. So, what are some of your self care things? And self care is more than just getting your nails and feet done. Someone asked, the buzzword has been self care. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling unappreciated, when you're feeling alone, when you're feeling unheard, when you're feeling sad, when those feelings and emotions come up unexpectedly, particularly around this time of year, holidays when you may have had dinners and gatherings and get together. What are some of the things that you can do for self-care? Let me just say this is one of them. The fact that you have shown up and that you are listening here um, is is an act of self-care. Someone says, I turn my phone off and do things I enjoy. That's a real one. I have learned to start muting my phone and turning my phone off and turning the TV off. Sometimes it's turning the TV off. Sometimes it's sitting on the patio and just sitting there and breathing. Reflecting, allowing myself to reflect, allowing myself to be okay with where I am and not trying to shift and change it and make it feel different. Allowing myself to feel what I feel. Yes, our tribe, Woman on the Grow. That's a good one, Valerie. Our tribe, Woman on the Grow, going with like-minded women. Yes, finding your tribe. That is awesome. That's good. Finding your tribe. Finding where you get fed, finding what uplifts your spirit, like-mindedness. So if it's a women's group fellowship, a men's group or fellowship, it can be some people go to church, it can be ministry, it can be a social club, it can be sorority, fraternity, it can be a girlfriend that you just go have lunch with, but something has to feed your spirit, because oftentimes what happens, particularly if you're a caregiver, we give, and we are on E, and we don't take the time that we need to rejuvenate and recharge our battery. The other thing that can happen is that we run our physical body down, right? So our physical body is ran down. So then our emotions become all over the place. And then we're not able to spiritually find that place, or we feel out of sync, right? Or we feel out of sync because we have ran our physical body down. And listen, I'm a witness. We can do it. It happens particularly when we're caregivers because we give. And caregivers are a caregiver includes parenting, young children, homeschooling, uh, taking care of disabled children. It includes, it may be a profession that you signed up for. In the realm of caregiving where you're giving of yourself. And so you have to take that time to refuel. And so I like that, Valerie. Finding your tribe. We have a tribe called Woman on the Group. Woman on the Group. Yeah, we grow and we grew. Woman on the Grow. And turning the phone off and doing things that you enjoy is another. Reading. I have my reading that is, it fills my spirit, audible books, and then I have what I call my junk reading. Not everything is deep. Sometimes I like to read just for enjoyment of a story, including maybe it's a specific show. Those are all self-care times where you have to just take for yourself. All righty, good, love it. All right. In caregiving, not all caregiving ends with the healing on this side.
Right.
And I know for myself, that was one of the toughest lessons that I had to embrace and learn. That the healing happened, but it didn't happen the way I had envisioned or thought, and the way I believed I was trusting God to heal. And so you talked about that process and how you we go through a process of preparation sometimes. So some may be on here and that will watch this. And in our caregiver, we talk about the stages of grief and we talk about the process, but to hear from another person how you process that and God prepared your heart for that transition. And I have to say, before you even start, I want to say this. I know God prepared me. My heart was prepared on both of the transitions. What my mother, my grandmother, the only one I wasn't really prepared for was my father. Wasn't prepared for that at all. I didn't see that one coming, but I wasn't caregiving for him either. But when as I caregive, a caregiver to my mother and my grandmother, I saw and I knew, in my heart, things I started doing. I remember I would sleep on the floor, and I want to, and you can share as I lead this story. I would sleep on the floor. I had a pallet that I had on the side because she had we had moved the bed out, and I had a medical bed in the room for her. And I would sleep on the pallet. I had a pallet that I had on the side of the floor, on her bed, and that's where I would sleep because I didn't want to not hear her if she needed me, and etc. And I remember that at the time, it was the weirdest things. Ants came into the room. Ants came in the room. And I had to get up off the floor. And I was so upset because I didn't understand, like, where did this come from? Why am I now having to not? So I had situated where I was still in the room, but not able to lay. And then eventually I had the, what you call the monitor at the time. This was some years, it was a baby monitor that we had. And I had it in the room anyway, but I had the monitor, and what I had started doing was sleeping in the living room on the sofa. And so what had started, what began to happen for me at that time is God was beginning to prepare my heart for her exiting, and for me getting, it took me a minute to get comfortable with the fact she wasn't there, but to get comfortable with the transition. So I want to ask you, you mentioned death process and the God prepared your heart for it. Can you share a little more with us?
Because first of all, what we have to understand is that when Roy was put on hospice, it's that word, it's a scary word. Hospice. Hospice simply means that you're going to be dealing with death. And so, but you don't know when. So that's called anticipatory grief, is what I went through. When is it going to happen? Why is it going to happen? How come it's not different? I've prayed, I've cried. But the key was always in the back of my mind, whenever you pray, like I said, I'm not pray an unselfish prayer, not my will, but God's will. So when that night, on the 3rd of April, in the wee hours of the morning, when God revealed to me that death was a process, I knew that spiritually, God was preparing me to be able to handle whatever was to come next. And there was a time in my life, in my younger years, when I felt like I couldn't make no decisions or do anything without Roy. Because we did it together, I felt like I was not capable of doing things by myself. But because of all the years, the 50 plus years that we were married, God showed me how much we taught each other. We taught each other. So by him giving me the confidence in my weaknesses and me giving him the confidence in whatever he might have felt weak in, that's what made us whole. And so I really believe that that's why I was able to handle everything. And I didn't even think I was going to be able to handle putting a funeral together and all this kind of stuff. But it seemed like everything that I needed to do, people that I needed to call, whatever steps I needed to take, it just seemed like like God was just waving a wand, telling me what I needed to do. And so that's all I can tell you about that, is that I sat on the side of the bed for the longest time when God told me that death was a process. So I knew that by him telling me that, and so clearly, that it was going to be soon. So that next day, I'll never forget, I fixed Roy breakfast, and he said, "Are we going to the stroke center today?" I said, "Yeah." So then I finally had a lady, since he was on hospice, she came and gave him a shower, but she said, "Something's wrong with Roy. You know, he's not, something's wrong." And so um, we helped him get out of the shower, and he never said another word. Mm-hmm. But one of the last things that he said to me was, "It's okay." Mm-hmm. And that's like my mother, when she passed away on the 18th of July. I set her up, I was cleaning her up, and she was kind of sitting on the closed little portable toilet in her room. And her head dropped. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Mom, are you okay?" She said, "I'm all right." So it's almost like they said the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then when she did that, she never lifted her head again, you know, and I immediately called 911. And so they rushed her to the hospital and all of that. But I had to wait for one of my sisters to get here. And I would actually tell you, I was frustrated because I didn't want to wait. I wanted to follow the ambulance, but God reassured me, because I tell you, God speaks to me. I'm telling you, when that happened to her in my home, God said, "She's not coming back." Mm-hmm. So I experienced her leaving here. So when she went to the hospital and they made the announcement, she was already gone. Mm-hmm. So I think and for me, it was a privilege and an honor to care for both of them. Mm-hmm. And if I died today or tomorrow, it is well with my soul. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Thank you so much. Yes, awesome. Thank you for your transparency and allowing yourself to share with us your journey, and share with us in transparency, share your emotions behind it, and share the power of God that keeps us. Got to have that relationship. Absolutely. Because we can, what I know for certain, many of you guys know that I have my master's in counseling, and I've learned all the therapeutic approaches, and I got all that. I understand that. I've been doing that for a while, even before I got the master's. And what it really boils down to is you have to have a spiritual foundation. I'm not telling you what, I'm not trying to put you and tell you what you got to believe like me. That's not what I'm trying to do. But what I am saying to you, you have to have a spiritual foundation. I remember my grandmother saying before she left here, she said, the difference in the generations now than before is that there was a spiritual foundation. No matter where you went to church or what it is you believed, even if it was a Muslim or you know, whatever, a Catholic, or you had a foundation, you had a point that you went to and that sustained you. And so what I know after being in this world and experiencing many things as you, that you have to have a spiritual foundation, period. You have to believe in something greater than you, and then you've got to also know that it is in you, so that it can direct your path. So I appreciate you sharing that. Are there any questions, comments from the audience that you have right now? Anything you want to share? Anything at all you want to share? Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Thank you. It's funny you said sincerity, and I didn't catch the second one either. What? I don't know if you remember what is it? Sincerity and what?
Oh, I said sincerity and genuineness.
Love is limitless,
and selfless,
and selfless, and mutual respect. I love that, mutual respect. And then you also need to have an advocate for you. The caregiver needs an advocate to remind them, to remind us to take care. Yes, was someone else wanted to say something?
I just want to say
there's more similarities than differences when we talk about the journey of being a caregiver. And the purpose of this group, we meet every second Thursday of the month. And the purpose of the group is to give the caregiver space to hear others and to know that they're not alone, you are not alone, because many times you can feel alone by yourself, like nobody's there, nobody really understands. Where can you go? you know, and so when you hear and share and know that there's others that have walked through what you're walking through or is walking through what you're walking through, it gives some encouragement and inspiration to let you know there's hope. There is hope. Dr. Reverend, I call her Dr. Reverend. Dr. Reverend Erling, she has walked through the transition, the caregiving and transition, and also seeing her daughter. I know she mentioned to me that her daughter is doing much better. And she even mentioned in what she talks about her now, how her daughter is still with her and her grandchildren, but it's much better. And it's that relationship with a higher power, which I choose to call God, which I choose is the leader of my life, the Holy Spirit. That gives the strength and the wisdom of what to do. Is there anything else? Anybody else you want to put in the chat? Anything you want to say? I want to say thank you. We are right at 8:00. I want to say thank you to everyone that showed up tonight, for taking the time for yourself, taking this time for you to be fed in a different type setting online. I want to thank Dr. Reverend Erling for sharing her story, and each and every one of you that showed up live, and those that will watch this after the broadcast. Good evening, everybody. I want to wait a minute. There we go. I still could hear it in the background. So are there any questions after hearing that dynamic share of caring, being a caregiver? I know that some are on here now that are caregivers, and there's others that will be watching later. Any comments, any questions, anything you want to share? So many wonderful nuggets of the journey of a caregiver. As a matter of fact, Dr. Erling has a book that's going to be coming out real soon. It's called A Caregiver's Journey, A Walk of Faith, coming soon, Dr. Erling Gentry. So stay tuned for that. We will be announcing the release date real soon. A Caregiver's Journey, A Walk of Faith. She is a poet. And so it is her story. I call her an alchemist, a word alchemist. She knows how to put those words together and where it penetrates and touch your heart. Is there any questions at all? Anything you want to share? Any thoughts? This is about you. This is about you sharing, expressing where you are, sharing where you are, your thoughts, your feelings. You don't have to show your face. You can just put it in the chat. And you might want to come on stage and you might want to share something on stage with us tonight. You're welcome to do that as well. We want to say thank you. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. We are here for you. It is challenging being a caregiver. It's rewarding and it's a blessing. And what I know for certain as a caregiver, it is something about the wind of grace. The wind of grace. I'm going to call it the wind of grace, the power of God, the anointing that graces you to be a caregiver. It's a grace. Oftentimes I can think back when I cared for my mom and my grandparent, and I've cared for others, even as I was a homeschool parent for 6 years until my child got to the 6th grade. And the work that I do is caring for others. It's caring for their emotional, spiritual, and physical, physical too, emotional, spiritual, and mental health. And so all of that is an act of caring and giving. And I have had to learn how to take downtown. And I'm learning. I don't always do it. This tonight, on Christmas Eve, is what some call it, is about giving space and learning how to pause and taking an intentional time to refresh, to rejuvenate your battery. You can't do that. You can't do the work of caregiving without pausing. There's a grace which is unprecedented and favor and grace and power to do the work that you do. I think about how it was 2009, June 29, 2009, when my mother passed. We had her services in July, and I didn't stop moving. I was elder in ministry. We had a conference coming up that July, and I had my my coaching business. I had, people that I was working with. I was on the go moving, and my son was 4 years old at the time. So I was popping, I was moving. I didn't miss a beat. We had our services, we buried her, and the conference I think was like a week or so after that. And I didn't miss a beat. It wasn't until this time of year in 2009 that I laid across the bed, and I laid there, and it hit me in a way. I felt the loss, and I mourned, but I stopped. I paused the activities, the going, the doing. Sometimes we go, we do, we go, and we keep ourselves busy so we don't have to deal with and feel. And I remember laying across the bed, and I just wept. And I wept, and I felt, what was, why, what was going on, and what I was feeling, and etc. And hey, beautiful. And what I learned in that moment, what I learned and what I've learned since that time, is that we have to take the time to lament, to mourn. We can't stay there. Okay. But whatever that journey is, and getting to that space of healing and wholeness, is the journey. And you can push it out so that you don't experience it, so that you don't deal with it, but at some point in time you got to deal with it. So I'm saying all that. I don't know who I said that for. I don't know who that. Somebody here needed to hear that. Be patient with yourself. She talked about, I thought, that anticipatory grief. And I can think about how there were several weekends, even with my grandmother, there were several weekends. They just knew this is it, this is it, this is it. But it wasn't. It wasn't it. And then when it happened, we knew it was going to happen, but there's still some adjusting that you have to go through. Now, it's not everybody's story, but it's somebody's story. And you have witnesses here today to let you know that you can get through it. Be patient with yourself, be loving with yourself, be kind with yourself. You may even be dealing with the fact that you're an empty nester. Mm-hmm. That is an act of caregiver. And now your children are not home with you anymore. They may be married with their own families and children. They may have gone away from school and back, but I'm talking about the ones that your children are not there. There are some parents on here tonight. I hear you, Holy Spirit. There are parents that are on here tonight that are missing children, that are incarcerated. That is a different kind of sadness and grief. You were a caregiver. You are the one who provided and took care of your children. And they may be in situations where they're not able to be in your presence right now. And it's hitting you in a different kind of way. And so I want to extend to you that it is okay to feel what you are feeling, and to know that you can get over it. It's not a bad thing. Embrace it in its totality. All righty, embrace it. Any comments? Anybody have anything they want to share in the chat? Let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. We want to thank you for stopping into our marathon this Christmas Eve. The intention is to give you space to feed your spirit, and to lift your spirit in a way that you may not have been ordinary to do so. You may need it to just come and check out and get some space just before going to deal with others. So we're going to go ahead and finish out the video, and we'll be right back. And so if you want to reach out to her direct, you want her to have prayer with you direct, I don't think she'll have a problem with that, but I'm going to ask that she take us out in prayer. And I want to thank everybody again. Don't forget to pause. Many times if we just pause, inhale and exhale. Notice that also, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. When I'm inhaling, it's coming in my chest. I'm not pulling back. So I'm allowing my chest to get full oxygen. Okay? And exhale. See that?
Mm-hmm.
When we do like that, oftentimes it's causing our breath to short circuit. So just remember that, the power of your breath. Okay, Dr. Reverend, you want to take us out in prayer?
Okay. I'm sorry, my phone was telling me that my battery was getting low, but I'm gonna pray. Okay, hold on. I'll just leave it alone. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this privilege and this honor to be able to speak to people tonight and to encourage other caregivers that this journey can be hard sometimes, but it makes it a little easier when we have you on our side, Lord. You said, cast your cares upon me because you care for us all, Lord. I just want to thank you for Iris for having this ministry of caregiving, Lord. She has been so beneficial and so kind and so giving to me as a caregiver. And so I encourage anyone that is a caregiver or anyone that just needs care in other ways, Lord, that you would just let them know that they are never alone. Because you walk with us all, Lord. All we need to do is that solid relationship with you, Lord. So I'm asking right now, to the sound of my voice, that you would bless everyone physically, spiritually, emotionally. And if anyone's finances need to be touched, Lord, I ask that you would do that as well. But Lord, never ever let them forget who you are in their life and who they belong to, because you are amazing, God. You are amazing. You are all that we need to get through anything that we will ever face in life. And we're thanking you in advance because we know that we are overcomers through Jesus Christ. Because he overcame the world. So together we can overcome challenges we have yet to face. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Our grief support is every last Thursday of the month. And you're welcome to come. We'll be continuing our conversation around hospice care and palliative care. She kind of touched on it tonight. Hospice care and palliative care. All right, God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, thank you. God bless you all. Thank you, Iris. Love you.
Thank you. Love you too. All righty then. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. How there we go. I'm doing this technology stuff here. Okay, what did I do? There it is. All righty, you guys. How y'all doing? How you feeling? We at midnight on the Pacific Standard Time and 3 a.m. in the Eastern Standard Time. And we are at 11 a.m. No, 2 a.m. on Central Standard Time. And, I don't know what we are in China and in Nigeria and Ghana, but we's here. All righty. Any comments? Any feedback, anything you want to share, you want to leave with us to let us know what have you received thus far. For those of you that are still with us, that has been with us the entire time, what have you received thus far? We want to say thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to let people know that we are here. We are here and we are sharing hope. We're going beyond solution and we're sharing hope, a hope that will transform and shift the trajectory of your life in this season. Yes, it can be challenging. Yes, it can be difficult, but we are here to let you know that you are enough. You are enough. Any comments, anything you want to share with us in the comment section? I am looking for, we have another guest that is supposed to be coming on to share with you. Here we go. Wait just a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's see. What have you shared in the comment section? Is there anybody got anything y'all want to share in the comment section? Let's see. Hold on. Give me a second here. There we go. Okay. All righty, we got something we're gonna put up for you while we're waiting for our next guest to come. All righty. Okay. Moment of gratitude and thanksgiving. We say thank you for this day, for this moment, for this hour, for this second. We say thank you for our breath. We say thank you for the opportunity to say thank you. We're grateful today, this morning, for life, for the experiences that come along with life and living. We say thank you. And so now I ask, as we inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, for a double portion of peace, comfort, and guidance to those that are grieving in this season. Some, this is the first time they're without their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, their grandparents, their loved ones, their sons and daughters. And I'm asking that in this season, the journey of grief, of loss, of sudden change, unexpected change that has shaken the very foundation of some of those that will hear this prayer life. I'm asking for a special double dose of peace and comfort and guidance, protection. Peace be still. And we say thank you. And in the moment of this journey, with the array of feelings, emotions, ups, downs, joys, happiness, sadness, tears, and laughter, we pause with our intentional breath as we take it all in, not ignoring the feelings, emotions, the memories, the laughter, the sadness, the joy. We take it in, we experience it, and then we exhale. We release it. It will not lay trapped in our body, in our cells, in our DNA, in our genes, in our heart, in our liver, in our lungs. We release the pain. We release the stagnated energy. And we move that out through the power of breath. And we say thank you for this moment to be present and aware of our body, of our feelings, emotions, our thoughts, our surroundings. We take it in and we exhale. We lean in, and on the count of 4, we exhale. 2, 3, 4, exhale. We tap it out. Our shoulders, our heart cavity, our lung area. And we say, be healed from the inside out. Be healed. And as we move throughout the rest of this day, we remember that we are divinely created to create divinely. So we are aware, cognizant of the words that come out of our mouth, the thoughts that are arising in our mind, in our thinking. And we cast down out every idle, non-productive, debilitating thought. And we move into the energy of love, of peace, of joy, of clarity. And say thank you. Remember, you are divinely created to create divinely. You are the very essence of God in the earth. That means you're not no junk. That means that your actions, your attitude, your alignment creates the possibility of your right now and your future. You have the power to shift your energy. And release all stagnated energy that causes you to be debilitated in your thinking, in your awareness. I wrap the wonderful arms of the creator of all life, of love, joy, peace, and understanding around you. May it envelop and be a canopy of peace as you go about your day. Amen.
Okay, I'm back. Had a little technical difficulty, but I'm back. Thank you for jumping on, Kylie. I appreciate that. Where are you? I appreciate it. We send you love back and Merry Christmas to you as well. We thank you. We thank you. So where are we? Well, how are we feeling? How are we doing? What else is on your minds tonight? On your hearts tonight? We've talked about caregivers and getting through the journey of and embracing the journey of being a caregiver. And we talked about anticipatory grief. Some of you might be in the process of giving care to a loved one that you are watching their very life. You're watching the deterioration of their life, and you are aware you're maybe not even ready for them. So uh, we thank you for being just had wisdom teeth surgery, and this is definitely cheering me up. Sending love from California. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that. That's what we are all about. We are about cheering up and sending some good wishes to those that may be in right now. That's what the intention of this broadcast tonight is all about. And so we say thank you. So again, you may be experiencing a caregiving on the in the realm of watching your loved one shift and change. And you have, it's nothing that you can do about it but just extend the love, and your heart, listening to that, you may be in a position where your heart is being prepared to embrace the transition of a loved one. You may have had a loved one that has already transitioned, and this is your first season without them. That's what that prayer was that we just had right before we came back up. And the prayer was to remind you that you are not alone. Any comments, anything anybody else want to share? We thank you for joining us. This is our first online marathon, and it is our intention to be a bridge of hope. Yes, beyond solutions. That's what we're about. The Center of Empowerment, as I have shared with you guys, www.coinpm.org. We are a nonprofit that focuses on destigmatizing mental health. And what that simply means is we offer services in the area of grief, loss support groups, individual family care, caregivers, trauma. We offer support in those areas. We offer support in the areas of shifting and changing, working families that just need a little support in shifting and changing the trajectory of their families. So you may have come from, have experienced or experiencing challenging times, poverty, sickness, illness, addiction. All those things may be going on right now, but we offer services, and if we do not have it, we can direct you in the right path to get what you need so that you can see a life much different than what you have experienced in the past. There's more to life. There's more that God has for you. I'm a living, talking, walking, breathing example that there's more. And when I say more, not in that you necessarily have to have tangible more, it's always good, but more in terms of the satisfaction of living in life, not always in a struggle, right? So we want to thank you for joining us tonight. Any comments in the chat? Anything you guys want to leave, you want to share, you want to say in the chat? Before we move on, we did have another individual that was scheduled to come on. It looks like they're not going to be able to make it, and that's okay. Because what we know for certain, that there are no accidents, right? There are only opportunities for us to grow and glow. So with that stated, we have another presentation that we're going to present to you right now. And we pray that it blesses your soul. I'm sure it will. Okay, so here we go. Give me just a second. All righty. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Let's do this.
up. I know it's difficult. I know that sometimes things just feel very overwhelming. And if anyone understands that, that would be me. I understand the feelings of grief, sadness, disappointment. And I want to say thank you for joining us this evening. I am in my car because I had to bring my son to a game that he had this evening. But I wanted to make sure that I was available for those of you that wanted to hear, share, and or just be in the space of for whatever it is you might be feeling, whatever it is you might be going through, whatever is coming up in this moment. I just wanted to offer you a space of safety. A space of releasing, inhaling, and exhaling. Inhaling. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Yes, that feels good. One more inhale. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and on 6, we're going to exhale through the mouth with a sigh. 6. Yes. You know, many times you hear in advice, or we talk about the process of grief as if there is an end date. And so the quote of 5 stages of grieving, and then we have 7 stages to that has been expanded to help us understand that the journey is ongoing. It's ongoing. What I've come to understand is that I don't have to be thinking about those loved ones that are close and dear to my heart. I've come to understand that my DNA knows when it's their birthday. My DNA knows when it's the time that they transition and left this life. My DNA knows it. And there are times where I'm wondering, why am I feeling a certain way? And it's ironic because I can also ask family members, and we'll be talking. We're like, I don't know what this is today. And then I say, you know it's daddy's birthday. You know it's grandfather's birthday. You know it's the month that they transition. You know it's the date of their funeral. You know it's when mama left here. And it's like, wow, that's it. And so what I want to share with you, your DNA knows the trauma experienced when a loved one has transitioned from this life to the next. And although we have an understanding, depending on what your beliefs are, that they're in a better place, they're no longer in their pain and suffering, if it was illness. If it's a sudden death and you did not have an opportunity to say goodbye because it wasn't expected, it wasn't anticipated, it wasn't supposed to happen, that's a different kind of sting, a different type of experience. But it's painful and it hurts all the same. I want to share with you is that it's okay wherever you are, whatever you're feeling. Your tears are the healing waters of your soul. Your emotions are the love notes of your memories. And your moments of heaviness is to remind you that you still have work to do. And that work is being present to your breath, to the power of your breath. Because no matter what, life is still moving forward. Although sometimes it feels like it's stagnated. Sometimes it feels like you're not moving. I want to remind you that even in those moments of stillness, of the feelings of stagnations, the feelings of heaviness, the feelings of some of depression, some of sadness, number one, it's okay to reach out for help. Counseling is not a bad word. And number two, it is okay to feel what you feel is not abnormal. It is not abnormal. Many of us have to learn how to breathe again. How not to hold our breath in anticipation of the next traumatic experience. To allow us to be present to the love of our loved ones, the memories that we hold dear, the cherished wisdom that they imparted upon us, the mantles that have been given to us to carry on. I want you to know that it's okay. And it is okay to not do anything, to feel what you're feeling. God bless you. May the creator of all life remind you that the gift of breath, the gift of life, the gift of experiencing grief, of knowing that you're not abnormal, and that the trauma sometimes behind the experience. You know, grief is also associated with the loss of relationships, marriage, friendships, careers, lifestyle changes. There's a journey and there's an experience of grief because there is you've lost something. It's changed, and 10 times out of 10 is not returning to be the same, and nor should it. We should not want to remain the same. Some relationships have to die so that they can live, because how they were birthed in the spirit of brokenness. They were birthed in the spirit of unaware, not being fully aware, fully present to self and the power of God in us. And so when we birth in those spaces, we birth prematurely sometimes. We give life to situations that pushes and pulls us in the direction of learning to be present and to honor the breath that's been given to us, honor the life, the divine creative force that's been given to us through our breath, and through the spoken word. When you speak a word, you're breathing life, you're eating life. So what are you feeding your spirit? And many times the relationships, be it family relationships, friendships, business relationships, many times they're birthed prematurely or it's not in a healthy environment. I know when I was pregnant with my son, I had what they called gestational diabetes, which meant that during the time of pregnancy, I had diabetes. I didn't normally have diabetes, but during pregnancy, I had diabetes. And sometimes, so I had to be very conscientious of what I ate, what I ingested. It was a high risk pregnancy. So I had to be very conscientious of the stress levels that I allowed in my space. And many times what happens is in relationships, when they shift, when they change, when they grow, when we outgrow, when we move in different directions, we feel a loss because what once was no longer exists. And it's familiar, although it may not be healthy. It's familiar. And we know what to expect, although it's not healthy. And what oftentimes happens is grief will cause us to grow. It forces us to grow. It pushes us to grow into the divine creation, the divine appointment, the divine purpose that we have. I hope something that has been said to uplift your spirits, encourage your heart, and remind you that right where you are is where you're supposed to be. Allow the healing flow of your tears and the breath that has been given to you. That's oxygen getting into those areas that hasn't been oxygenated in a very long time, because we think might happen. Let it go. And bless you. Peace.
I did it again. I was on mute. um, but thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again for joining in with us tonight. We see you checking in, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. And by all, know what you're thinking and how you're feeling. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We know Christmas Eve is a night that a lot of people spend times with their families, with their loved ones. They get engaged, and all kind of fun stuff happen on Christmas Eve. But it's not for everybody. It doesn't happen like that for everybody. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a space for those of you that are experiencing sadness, grief, loss, are caregivers. Maybe you're sick, ill. When I say sick, you're healing. I like to use the word that you're healing, that you're recouping and regaining your strength. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave a space for you tonight so that you could feel and know that you're not alone, number one. Number two, there are other men and women that have walked this path and journey that you're walking, be it your first time um, uh, having the holidays by yourself, in terms of not being with loved ones, be it it's just unfamiliar territory and it just doesn't feel good. And so I understand that. I've been there, I've done that, I know what that's like. And as we had stated earlier, many of us take on this kind of work because we've experienced it, and we want to be hope to those that have experienced. So we're going to share this with you, and then we're going to be and we want to say thank you again. Don't forget to uh like, share, like, share, like, share. Okay, so hold on just a moment, and we got something else for you, and we will be right there. We go. Here we go. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Mm. So this we're going to show you. We're expanding on the topic that Dr. Cassandra Jackson talked about, and that was finding gratitude. So here you go. Enjoy. The advertisement, what we put is learning to live with grief, right, and loss, grief and loss. Because loss, of course, can produce grief and can produce sadness and withdrawals and all of the emotions of anger and disappointment and all of that. It's all inclusive. But sometimes we think when it comes to our loved ones that it means that it ends. At some point, it's going to end, right? But the beauty of it is what I've learned after 15, almost would it be 15 years with my mother. My father will be 21 years. And then my grandparents is 9, and my grandmother's 9, my grandfather is 10. So it's just bam, bam, bam. Then I got, bam, 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 bam. And so after a while, it can sometimes feel traumatic, right? It's because it's like you're constantly on a roller coaster with your emotions. And even if it's not a loved one, it could be career, relationship, for me, a marriage, going through divorce, empty nesting. My son is in college now, adjusting to that, right? Had to end up selling my home. I didn't want to, but as the divorce all worked out, I was as after I fought everything, and I'm sharing this to talk about the different stages of loss and grief.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
I had to deal with that, and then feeling guilty and displaced and homeless, and the whole gamut of feelings that we go through. And it can be very traumatic. It can bring up a lot of uncertainty, tears, uh, and but the beauty is it's part of the price of love and joy.
Mhm. Yes, yes, it's all a part of the process, most definitely. Yes, and just think now that you've gotten to the other side, what does that feel like, Iris? I
Other
mean, I
side,
know you're still grieving your parents and your grandparents and your mother and your father. Um, but now that you have made some hard choices and that you have gone through them, you've gotten to the other side of the start of the process, I should say, or maybe the middle of the process. Certain parts of it, like the book that's the conclusion of the 3-part series, Your Marriage. I mean, that's finalized. Empty nesting, that portion of your parenting is finalized. So by that's what I meant to the other side of it. Yeah.
It's an excellent question. Excellent question. And what I am learning, and what I'm experiencing is learning how to let go, really understanding. We hear the words let go. And oftentimes it's like, okay, so what does that really mean? What does it mean to let go? Let go of what? What else am I supposed to let go? What what else am I supposed to do? There's nothing else here. But really releasing what I do not have control over, and knowing that where something ends and there is a new beginning. So yeah, there's a fresh start. And though that ends, and the ending of one thing doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, good, whatever, whatever. It just means that that no longer exists. And now I get to choose and have a different type of relationship with the relationship.
That
I
is
hope
so good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
I get to have a different type of relationship with the relationship. So
I get to have a different relationship with my child, um, who's growing and into adulthood, and though as a mother we always are concerned, and that is not going nowhere, but really believing that the foundation is there, right? And trusting and that the protection, as it pertains to his father and my former husband, that relationship has ended. And now I have a new relationship. And that new relationship is I put myself first and I don't break my boundaries.
Praise God. Yeah.
I don't betray myself to be in relationship um, as it was before, because it'll never be like that again. And being okay with that, and to learning that, stop beating myself up and having regrets, and I can't believe it, and 20 years of my life, and that whole thing.
Wait just a moment. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. All righty. So thank you all again. Thank you all again for tuning in. And we do hope something has been said that has uplifted your spirits and transform your thinking about this season, shifting your perception, of how to walk through this time in this season, finding gratitude, finding your gratitude, and knowing that um, you have a right to feel an array of emotions. They God given. There's also God given for you to choose how you view it, how you interpret it, how you perceive it. And so I would like to submit to you at this time that your gratitude and your attitude and your perception and how you care for yourself, the how you have committed to yourself, what you've committed to as it pertains to your self-care, your mental health, where you are. You are worthy of the fullness of this experience in this thing called life. You, as you learn to pause and breathe and journal and walk and turn the TV off and turn the phone off and say no and remember that it's a complete sentence. There's so much that has been shared tonight and in this marathon to keep you going through this season. The main thing is take care of yourself, reflect, refocus. Sometimes we say restore, and I'm not going to say, I stopped using the restoration as a part. Some things, yes, restore, but some things we need a fresh new build on. Our foundation has been adjusted, and we're building on a new foundation that's stronger, and it is balanced. It's not uneven. I think about the foundation of the house that I had was in my family for over 50 years. The base underneath, there was started to be a shifting in the foundation because of the time that it was built. And so it had to be fortified. Okay, restoration. It had to be retrofitted. That's a form of restoration. So sometimes with ourself in our life, we have to be retrofitted. We have to be fortified. We have to be strengthened, and then that foundation is rebuilt, if you will, so that it is fit for the life and the dispensation and what's ahead of you. You cannot do anything. I don't know who this is for. You cannot do anything about what's past. Not a thing you can do about it. You can forgive yourself, forgive others,
Forgive and let go of your false expectations on how things are supposed to turn out. Remember that you are a powerful being, and the beauty of your feelings or an emotion is that they change. They don't stay the same. There are things that trigger and remind you, but you have also been equipped and housed within your body, within your mind, within your thinking, the ability to shift your perspective. Right where you are is right where you're supposed to be or where you need to be as you are learning to move, shift, and change. Think about this. When a woman becomes pregnant, her body changes. It goes through the organs change and it expands and it has to make room to carry the child. She's being retrofitted. Oh. And then after she gives birth, it goes back into position. However, oftentimes, many times, there may be surgeries that may be needed, or there's a time that's needed for the body to go back into position, into its intentional, natural form. And that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It is the same thing that happens when we go through this wonderful journey that we call life. There are things that happen that takes time so that our mind and our thinking can shift and change about what we're experiencing. This is a season. It's not permanent. It's the end of the year, and at the end of the year, we've been conditioned to think it's time for celebration, it's time for Christmas trees, it's time for lights, it's time for turkeys, it's time for hams, it's time for family gatherings, it's time for this, it's time for that. And I'm not saying any of those things are bad or negative. However, what I am saying is you have an opportunity to shift your perception about those things and experience it in a different kind of way. You get to choose as you're expanding, shifting, or growing, and it takes time, okay, how you live through the end of the year and how you embrace the new beginning. You get to do that. That power has been given to you through the Holy Spirit. Remember, you have not been given the spirit of fear. That's a learned behavior. Mm-hmm. You don't have to choose from the space of fear, of unbridled emotions, of scared emotions, of fear, of what might happen, what could happen, what if it did happen, or why did it happen, and all those things that come up. Or the last time this happened, or I lost this because that happened. You don't have to live. We don't have to live in that. And when we shift our perception even around death, and I'm not saying it's easy. I'm the first to tell you, it is not easy. Neither is it comfortable. But when I begin to learn that it's perception and that my loved ones are with me all the time in spirit, and they're now my ancestors, my angels, and they guide me and they're sending out signals. I know we don't like to talk like that, but it's the truth. Okay? If you're listening to this right now, this is something that you needed to hear. It's time. It is time to shift. It is time to grow and expand. It is time to say no to what is not working, what is not healthy. Or maybe it's working but not healthy. It's toxic. Hey, and I've learned something about our cells, our genes. What produces the dis-ease in our mind, in our body, in our heart, in our thinking. We have been given the ability to heal from anything, but we must pause. You've proven that you're resilient. Ask yourself what you're afraid of. Why are you afraid of the pause? Why are you afraid to jump off the merry-go-round? Why are you afraid to stop? Why are you afraid to feel and allow the tears to run down your face? Why? And what has caused you to see it as a negative and not a positive? To see it as an ushering in to a fresh new beginning that allows you to live in the fullness of what the creator of all life has granted for you in this season. In the face of what appears like lack, loss, you do not have to sedate yourself with things, with relationships that are not working, with the expectations and situations that you already know not gonna work. You know it in your spirit, in your gut. That's what that upset stomach is about. Looking at what our ancestors, the path, the guide that they have already left for us, they've left us a pathway. They've guided us. They survived so that we can now live. It's up to us to now live. I don't know how much more time I have on planet Earth as a human being, but I do know that the legacy that I'm leaving and sharing with you right now, if you're listening to me and hearing me, is transforming your thinking. Tonight, you have been empowered with the voice of wisdom, with the voice of inspiration, and with the voice to ignite the flame in you, to reignite the flame in you, that flame that was given to you at birth, that fear has smothered, death has smothered, disappointment has smothered. Tonight, you have been given an ignited flame that's burning for you to move into the area of your divine purpose and destiny. This morning, early morning. Alrighty, thank you for joining us live. God bless you, and we'll see you in a few. We have more, so don't go away. Come back. Alrighty, God bless. Thank you for joining us. Until the next round on our online marathon.